But I think the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With a rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. It was too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
You said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1 0 1 1 1 0
Doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
As I'm choking here in the microphone, what's up? Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's going on, guys? This is the show where we get together and talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. You know what they are: aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. This show is live. We do this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and we are streaming live on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, Periscope, and of course, we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And that means we're taking your phone calls tonight. You know what that means? We're taking your phone calls every night, actually. Every night we do this, and you can reach the show by dialing this phone number, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can find the phone number and the Discord link at troubledminds.org. That's the official website. And everything's there. The podcast is there, all of the social media links, and you can find everything there. The phone number and, like I mentioned, the Discord link, which, of course, 702 area code is from Las Vegas, which is where we're streaming, where we do the show. And the thing is, well, Discord is it's a chat client. It's a voice client. It's free. Did I mention it's free? And basically, since we have people listening all over the world, it's a free way without having to dial those long-distance phone numbers and whatnot to just be part of the show. And so the beauty of Discord, like Ash always jokes, we're always pumping up Discord like we're sponsored by them or something, which we're totally not, by the way. It's just, sometimes people create an amazing product, and here we are talking about it. So Discord is not just a voice client. We use it to do a talk show, and other people use it to play video games and communicate like that. You can share live streams. You can do all kinds of stuff, but it's like an old school chat room as well. You can share links and ideas and all the rest of that stuff, which is really what this is all about. So if you have not joined the Discord yet, there's a lot of smart people in there sharing amazing things all the time. So hop on in there. Again, troubledminds.org. Click on the Discord link right on top, and you can also be on the show that way. anyway. All right. And then we have one more as well rolling with Fringe FM. There's a Fringe FM room in Discord as well. It's the same program. You don't have to download anything additional. Just go to fringe.fm/chat, and that will give you a direct invite to the Discord. So that's what's going on tonight. And as we begin, I'll try not to choke into the microphone anymore. For starters, I have this nice mute button that I only use when I'm doing my best intro work. I usually mute myself. Well, nobody's perfect, right? But anyway, all right. So what we're talking about tonight as we get going is we've talked a lot about UFOs on this show recently. We've always kind of been interested in the periphery about UFOs and the disclosure initiatives and what the government says about it and all the rest of that stuff, right? We've always been interested in that. And part of that is, you guys know my frustration with the government and how we just can't get information out of them that makes any sense, that's not redacted, that's not twisted or spun or, just incomplete. So instead, there's a new disclosure initiative kind of on the way. It's happening. It was just announced yesterday, which is what we're going to be talking about tonight. And it's done by one Avi Loeb. Everybody remember the term or the name Avi Loeb? Worked as a astrophysicist or astronomer. I'm not exactly sure. He's got so many titles, but he works for Harvard. And he's one of the guys, actually, that's brave enough, one of the actual academics brave enough to say, hey, look, guys, there may be aliens out there. Like, this might be a real thing. And so as a result of that, I have a great respect for him, even if, some people say he's off the rails, as you would expect, right? We've talked quite a bit about how there's a stigma associated with the UFO topic, and pilots and things like this can't really come forward because they call them crazy and all the rest of that, right? Including academics. Well, Avi Loeb is one of those guys that he's kind of from, he's famous anyway. He doesn't really need UFO clicks or things like this to make him famous. It has really put him to the forefront in the UFO community, that's for sure. But that's not what makes you famous. What makes you famous is being like a top 5 astronomer in the world that works for Harvard. That's what makes you famous, that type of thing, right? So he doesn't need this in particular as a gimmick, let's say. A lot of people, are kind of moving into UFOs and using it as a gimmick. Well, it doesn't have to be for that guy because he's actually, famous anyway. And so what he announced just recently in the last, I think it was yesterday, actually, this just hit. Yesterday, he announced that he's creating this initiative. Let's open this up and let's talk about this. So this is from actually the USA Today, and I'm going to link this. There's a few articles that are talking about this because it's new, it's exciting. This is a good thing. This is one of those spots where I think that we're sorely lacking in actual, let's say academics and putting their vast resources and networks of people they know really to work to get to the bottom of what's going on in the skies, right, with UFOs and the rest of that stuff. So here, let's go. I'm linking this in the chat, and you guys can find all this as usual. You guys know the drill. You can always find my sources in the description down below. You can find it on Facebook and YouTube. It's already there. I'm trying to be ahead of the game and post my links before we start here, but you can find it always there. So you can track me down and say, hey, look, Mike talked about this or that or the other thing, and read it yourself and see that I'm not just out there making these things up for conversation. Whereas I think they do make a good conversation. I think that doing fake news is worse. It's worse. But okay, all right. So let's look at this. Let's look at this article. I've linked it in the chats, and let's see. Yep, there we go. It's in all the chats now. Okay, so now let's start here. This is really what this is all about. This is from the USA Today, and headline is this: Harvard professor leading research on existence of UFOs and alien civilizations. And that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing for us. I think that, the people that are interested in the truth and some of the things that, are off the beaten path in conversations, right? UFOs in particular. What are they? We've talked about this quite a bit at length. And I think the answers are all over the place, right? Some people believe they're interdimensional entities. Some people believe they're craft from another world. Some people believe, like me, most of them anyway, I think are some sort of a plasma radar spoofing technology that's really not being advertised to the public. I mean, there's dozens of ways to look at this and decide what's really going on. But unfortunately, we end up getting the stiff end of the shaft, if you get my meaning there, from the government, and it's not good. It's not good because they're fibbing to us, right? I think that's part of the problem here. But anyway, back to this article. So Harvard professor leading research on existence of UFOs and alien civilizations. So he's putting together his own network to actually scan the skies and get direct raw data and be able to share it with the public, right? Isn't that a refreshing thought, for crying out loud? But here we go. Let's read some of this. The Galileo Project, led by Harvard astronomy professor Avi Loeb, will search for a record of alien civilizations capable of technology surpassing what we know on Earth. It will use telescope observations, missions that send cameras into space, and more. Quote, given the recently discovered abundance of Earth-Sun systems, the Galileo Project is dedicated to the proposition that humans can no longer ignore the possible existence of extraterrestrial technological civilizations. A new term for you guys to remember that would be ETCs. Again, extraterrestrial technological civilizations. So the team said in a statement, the project comes on the heels of the government's report on the UAP, unidentified aerial phenomena, and an interstellar object, Oumuamua. You guys remember Oumuamua? Yeah, Avi Loeb speculated it may have been a light sail or some sort of remnant technology from a past alien civilization. But here we go. So let's see. Oumuamua that entered our solar system in 2017 as reasons to search and confirm the presence of these ETCs. Well, again, extraterrestrial technological civilizations. So good stuff here. I mean, I've got a bunch of clips from the actual press conference itself, which we can hear Avi Loeb and his colleagues describe exactly what's going on with this. But I can't help but be a little bit pleased with even if it's, I'm not entirely trustful of academics and academia in particular. Because, they seem to twist themselves in knots to come up with ways of looking at the world that make absolutely no sense. But, well, that's just me. What do I know? But so that's there's one opinion on that. But the problem is that, as we've said with this disclosure initiative, we had all this weird drama with everybody remember Tom DeLonge and To the Stars Academy, Lou Elizondo from ATIP that supposedly worked in the Pentagon. All of this, right, like it was an unbelievable, just still ongoing kind of mess of drama that seems to kind of spawn in and out of government circles, right, with CIA and, people that are basically, as you would expect, not being exactly perfectly honest with us all the time. And that's frustrating, is it not, for people that are literally interested in UFOs and what the truth is about what's in our skies. The government kind of spinning this stuff and not giving us information is frustrating. And then, we waited all summer and got this kind of crappy report that many of us have deemed a nothing burger, right? Everybody remember the nothing burger they released? It was a big whopping 7 pages or 5 if you take out the title and the glossary. I mean, yeah, like this is where we're at. So I think in terms of where we're heading with this, I think this is a good thing. I think Avi Loeb and his connections are going to be hopefully exciting and going to change the way we look at hopefully the skies forever. And like I'm saying, thank goodness, finally an open source type project. Even if it is from academics, I'll look the other way on that one and hold my nose a little bit. But at least Avi Loeb is open to the idea that there are extraterrestrial civilizations out there. So I'm going to play just a couple clips to get you an idea of what we're talking about from the press conference. This just happened yesterday, brand spanking new. This is all new information. And so the questions tonight, like as you're aware, this is not the answer show. This is the question show. So now, given that we have this, open source type of disclosure project happening where they're going to scan the skies with telescopes, take photographs, things like this, The question for you guys tonight is, what do you expect them to find in the sky? Now, many of us have seen UFOs or strange things in the sky that we can't explain, which is probably part of the reason why you're here listening to this. So, with the things you see in your personal experiences, what do you expect an open source project, a disclosure project, by the way, will find in our night skies? And that's the beginning here. That's the question tonight that I have. Do you think that, again, they're going to find some astonishing things and move into the same sort of government type work where they start to cover things up and just become like another not transparent organization? Or do you think that soon maybe we're going to be finding and getting real actual data from scientific sources saying, uh-oh, there's things in the sky we can't explain? So that's the deal, right? That's the question tonight. That's what's on my mind. What do we expect out of this Galileo project run by Avi Loeb of Harvard? And let's hear just a little bit about this in his own words. Part one from the press conference that happened just yesterday, and action.
But just by way of a quick sketch, he's the Frank B. Baird Professor of Science at Harvard. He was the chair of the Harvard Astronomy Department for about 9 years until last year. He's involved in many different projects. He's got many different titles, far too many to run down here in a brief overview. But just by way of example, for instance, he's the chair of the advisory committee for the Breakthrough Starshot project, which is working to launch robotic probes to other star systems, hopefully in the next 30 years or so. He's got over 800 peer-reviewed publications. He's also a very proficient science communicator. He's written 8 books, including the recent bestseller Extraterrestrial, which just came out this year and just pretty relevant to what we're going to talk about today. On a personal note, I've written a lot of stories about Avi's work over the years. He does interesting things and approaches stories some established academics would not, and he does it from interesting angles and ways that most researchers don't. That's just how his mind works. And he's also stressed that it's important to be very open to many different hypotheses, many different ideas. And that's especially important for an established academic like him, who can tackle these questions that maybe people starting out in the field who don't have the career leeway that he has are able to do. And today we're going to talk about a project that's in keeping with that mindset and with that ethos of keeping an open mind. And without further ado, I'll send it over to you, Avi. Take it away.
Thank you so much, Mike. We now know from the Kepler satellite data that about half, plus or minus a quarter of all sun-like stars have an Earth-like planet. Meaning an Earth-sized planet, roughly at the same separation from the host star.
All right, so that's Avi Loeb. He's actually taken over the conference here I wanted to include the introduction because I always mess up his titles, and somebody else doing it, well, there you go. Even a colleague of his was like, well, he's got too many titles to really to run down here. So in any case, that's Avi Loeb, and that was the press conference that happened yesterday. And they're doing what's known as the Galileo Project. And like I said, I'm a little bit excited for this because we'll look at some of the things that they're expecting to do. Again, put telescopes in the sky, not necessarily looking at planets or stars or the moon or things like this, right? They're going to be looking specifically for extraterrestrial evidence, right? Of these civilizations, of maybe UFOs in the sky, things like this. Actual objects themselves, not those ET techno-signatures like SETI is always looking for. If you guys remember, SETI is the search for extraterrestrial intelligence run by a man named Seth Shostak. And so, it's not that. It's kind of maybe a similar outfit to that, but it's going to be an open source thing. We're going to have access to this data, and hopefully they don't find it within their purview to redact information as they find possibly startling things in the sky. Because, well, we know they're out there, don't we? There's some crazy stuff in the sky, and so that's the question tonight. With this Galileo project spawning and happening and beginning, what do you think we're going to find? Do you think that now it's a wrap for the government? They can't hide anymore because now this group of academics is going to be showing us real data? Like I've said, with those those 3 Tic Tac videos. If they've got 3, they've got 30. If they've got 30, they've got thousands. Where are the terabytes, right? They're hiding them from us. They're not telling us a damn thing about them, and I don't like being lied to. So with that said, I don't know. I'm a little bit excited and cautiously optimistic because this in particular, it will maybe bring us that data that we've been kind of digging into and hoping for. So here we go. Part 2 of this. I'm going to play this just before we go to the break. But the question for you guys tonight is exactly as I described. What do we expect to find in the night skies? If we have an unredacted view of everything out there and actual data being pulled down by professional style telescopes and academics and people collecting data, what do we expect to find? What do you think is going to be out there? Is it going to be something mundane or something absolutely shocking? So here we go. Part 2 of this, as they started describing the Galileo Project yesterday. This is only yesterday. This is a brand new thing. And here we go. Part 2, this is Avi Loeb describing the project and what he expects out of it.
So out of modesty, we should assume that under similar circumstances, we might get similar outcomes in tens of billions of other systems within the Milky Way galaxy. We can no longer ignore the possibility that technological civilizations predated us and that we are not the smartest kid on our cosmic block. Most stars formed billions of years before the sun. We know that by observing star formation in the universe. And therefore, there was enough time for another technological civilization, just one that is more advanced than ours, to fill the Milky Way galaxy with probes, with objects, because 1 billion years is enough time to travel across the Milky Way and basically populate it with artificial intelligence systems that perhaps combined with 3D printers can replicate themselves. And it is time for scientific research on this question of the sky for physical objects. And I call that space archaeology, looking for objects similar to the ones we launched into space. So over the past 4 years, there were 2 intriguing findings in this context. One is Oumuamua, and the other one is unidentified aerial phenomena. And I will touch on both in a few minutes. But a month after the unidentified aerial phenomena report was delivered to Congress, we decided to announce the Galileo Project. It's a scientific, based on non-governmental data that we will assemble as scientists to address the question, are we the smartest kid on our cosmic block?
Well, are we the smartest kid on our cosmic block? Well said, Avi Loeb. So that's Avi Loeb again from Harvard, and he's launching this Galileo Project. And so again, what do we expect to find from this? That's the question tonight. Like I said, myself, I'm cautiously optimistic here that maybe finally we're going to get some real data that's irrefutable of things in the sky that really cannot be easily filed, right? And I think that's part of the conversation here. That's why he's doing this. Well, I mean, I can't believe you're at the top of the Harvard food chain, in astrophysics or whatever he's into, astronomy or whatever that is, and he's needs money. You know what I'm saying? I think that I don't see this as a money grab. I don't see this as anything other than, for now, I'm going to believe that they're kind of doing this in earnest and actually want answers to what's out there as part of the mystery of the UAP, the unidentified aerial phenomena. So interesting and pretty cool that this is happening. And I don't know. As always, though, what do you guys think? So the question tonight is, as they launch this Galileo project, which is supposed to be some sort of open source thing where we're going to be able to access the data all the time and do the rest of that, well, what do you expect to find? Do you expect to find something absolutely out of this world, insane, crazy style? Or do you think it's going to be, this is a bunch of government UFOs flying around and that's really what's going on here? I want to know what you guys think. Is the world ready for disclosure? And if so, what do you think is out there? One more time, looking to hear from you, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. I'm Michael Strange. This is Troubled Minds. Don't go anywhere. More after the break. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, DLive, and Periscope. And we're also broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. If you want to be part of the show tonight, we're taking your phone calls, and we're talking about the Galileo Project, an open source project created by Avi Loeb of Harvard University to find out the truth of what's happening in our night skies. What do you guys expect to find out of this? Hopefully, like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic, and I'm hoping that we're able to get to the bottom of this fairly soon. I think that there's probably a ton of evidence out there as we all see it in ourselves. Well, all we have to do is go outside and look up, like we always say, right? Like we don't have to leave disclosure in the hands of the government. And so if Harvard is doing this, of course not Harvard directly, but Avi Loeb of Harvard University, he's putting together a pretty impressive panel of people that are going to use their resources and their connections to really do surveys of the night sky and maybe find the answers, maybe find exactly what in the world is going on out there. So I think that's a good thing. What do you guys expect out of this? Is this going to be, again, some bait and switch action? Is this going to be monetized behind a paywall and then ushered in as the next History Channel special? Very much like the MUFON stuff. I don't know. You guys tell me. Like I said, I'm personally cautiously optimistic, probably because I'm naive. I mean, let's just put it out there. But what do you guys think? And so, what do you expect out of this project called the Galileo Project? And do you think they're going to find anything? And if so, what do you think they'll find? And of course, as you know, we speculate all kinds of ways on this show. If you think we're going to find alien civilizations, then that's the stuff we want to hear. If you think it's going to be some sort of another arm of the government that's going to throw us for a loop, well, that's another way to look at it as well. So if you want to be part of the show, once again, we are taking your phone calls tonight at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. You can also join the show by going to troubledminds.org and click the Discord link, and you can join the show that way. So we do have a phone call coming in, so let's go straight to it. We have Paul in New Hampshire. What's up, Paul? How you doing, my friend? How are you tonight?
Hey, Michael. Michael Strange. How's it going, big guy?
I'm doing good. Doing good, man. Have you heard of this crazy stuff, the Galileo Project that Avi Loeb is starting, or is this news to you?
It is actually news to me, but it's resonating news, and, I just have to roll with this. I mean, it just seems like, a nonstop barrage of, I don't know how to put it, this just rhetoric that keeps going around in circles and circles. I've been doing this for, I don't know how long now. I dare to even say. And let me tell you, this has happened over and over and over again. We've been, you go back to, okay, let's start with the 50s, 60s. We get into let's get to modern times where we have, what was it called? The Disclosure Project. Where did that go? We had 300 government officials come forward, and now we have, I don't know, what is it called? The Galileo Project. So we're studying things. We sent things to Mars, by the way, and in scientific terms, they came back with undeniable proof of life on other planets. We've had that with the meteors that hit Antarctica that came from Mars, that have microbial life. So I don't think now it's the question of whether or not the universe is able to sustain life, because it seems pretty good at sustaining stupid life right now. I didn't mean to get out of bounds there, but you know what I'm saying. And here we go, and now here's another rhetoric to just Where I thought we were going here already in the last 6 months with the whole UFO report that was coming out from the CIA and Lou Alessandro, and everybody already knew this now. Aren't we here? So who's Galileo? Fill me in, my friend.
All right. Well, it's a Galileo Project. Of course, it's after Galileo Galilei, I believe is his full name there. You know, the guy who invented the telescope. That guy. It's named after him. However, Avi Loeb is putting together, so Avi Loeb of Harvard fame and the Oumuamua stuff where he said it may have been a light sail, that guy, he's putting together a network of academic professionals that are going to use some of their resources and some of their connections to actually scan the night sky with telescopes and collect data that will be public, that we'll be able to see and we'll be able to verify and the rest of that stuff. So like I said, I'm cautiously optimistic because if all those things remain true, I think with all the stuff that's out there in the sky currently, I think we'll get to the bottom of some things pretty quickly. Because this is like kid in a candy store type stuff, right? For folks like us, if they can deliver on the things they're claiming they can. So that's what's going on with this. Again, like you said, Project Blue Book, like it seems like history seems to repeat itself. But the good news is, as far as we're aware, this is not a government thing. So, well, right, as you know, as we all know, all the government has to do is throw some money at them, and then, of course, then it becomes a government thing. So, unfortunately, well, we'll see what happens. But that's what's going on. So,
well, yeah. You know, how can I disagree with that? I guess I can't, because I was just, thinking the same thing you said. It seems to be this nonstop thing of, I mean, like I said, bring up the Disclosure Project. These people may have worked for the government, but it wasn't the government doing it. It was, you look at, what's the guy's name now with all the movies out there now? The crazy dude that everybody thinks is awesome that can sit around and shine flashlights in the sky, and he's got movies out now. And we still get to nowhere. I didn't mention names.
I was about to not mention the name as well. Thank you. We all know who you're talking about, though.
Yeah. It just seems crazy to me that is this how we feed off this? Is this how the internet, mass media, how regular media, whatever? I know there's a new movie coming out now, and I'm looking at some of the videos that they're showing, and it just seems to be the same old crap over and over again. I don't know how, the UFO disclosure people are doing now with this, but I'm sure they're upset because they had planned on this happening, maybe to, get that free energy and cures instead of treatments. But we're still being treated, and we're still not being treated like intelligent people. I think that's part of the problem. I think that, we need to do what you're doing and talk about it more. And are we ready? I was watching some of the comments and looking at this, and I guess we get right to that point. Yeah, we're not ready for disclosure. So all of a sudden there's some guy that's naming a thing that was built off of the guy who invented the telescope, Galileo. By the way, wasn't there this guy Hubble that showed us how many galaxies and stars there actually are in the middle of nowhere, of the blackest spot in space, where you can see tens of thousands of galaxies or hundreds of stars? And every one of them is a galaxy, and shows actually how big and how infinite. What's the word I'm looking for? It's just infinite. This goes on. I think we have this. The human mind can't comprehend how big this universe is, and if you look at science, an actual science, I'm not talking science that the people on the news are talking
not
about.
Fauci
right now,
science. No, not Fauci science. We're not talking about that.
Not science that Dr. Fauci's talking about. I'm talking about the actual science that the fact is there's more grains of sand on every beach on the earth. Every beach. If you guys go to the beach, look at the grains of sand. There are more planets and galaxies and stars than there are grains of sand on this entire planet. And we're the only intelligent life. And none of that intelligent life was smart enough to get here. Here's my suggestion. I don't like to pump other people, but watched that show Loki. I watched it last night. I binged it the last couple of nights. That was really cool. I thought it was really good. Marvel kind of has this thing. I think this was part of the education process when you look at mass media, movies, and throughout time, throughout our education process as human beings. We, you can talk about the movie E.T., you can talk about the movie Aliens. So they're either tearing us to pieces or they're just happy little guys on bikes. And we look at this whole thing, I think it's part of the education process, DNA change. And is anything new going to come out of this? I would be hard-pressed to believe it, but very happy if it did. With that being said, let's see it happen. Let's see it happen.
Exactly. Show me the data. Show me the data. I'm with you, man. Like I said, because I'm naive, I'm going to be cautiously optimistic here, but I'm not expecting a ton. You can't expect a ton because, like you said, they've done this to us. Seems like a dozen times before, every decade, a couple of times for the past 70 years, and literally nothing comes out of it. So hopefully it's different this time, but we've been saying that for a long time now, haven't we? Unfortunately. Hopefully it's different this time.
No kidding. Yeah. It would be really cool, wouldn't it, though, if we actually woke up one day and everything was cool and there wasn't smoke in my city from the forest fires burning down from the 18-year-old kids that lit it on fire, or global warming. I don't know what it is. Maybe it was, maybe it was, the Egyptians that didn't build the pyramid, or they did build the pyramids, by the way. I'm part of a group now that everybody that thinks the pyramids were built by aliens is nuts. I know one thing. I don't see anybody building pyramids right now, and especially the way they did that, and, or carving giant obelisks or moving megalithic stones. By the way, check out that big stone that was in California. How did they do that? It took a giant truck with 400 wheels. It took a year of planning to do. Yeah, so the information is all there for us. And as some guy with a telescope that's going to shoot it up in the sky going to change our minds? I don't know. I mean, it would be great to see a giant mothership in the sky, but I think that the information's already out there too, and that didn't work. So all of a sudden now we have somebody else that's planning on proving this. And yeah, I think next week it'll be a different story, or next year, or the next 20 years. If we make it that long, then maybe somebody else will come along and we'll be flying a jet through the streets instead of doing 110. We'll be doing 130 because it's not a Dodge Demon. It's a flying, jet motor.
It's our flying cars that we've been denied. Hey, Paul, we got to go. You're the best, my friend. Good takes on all this, and I'm with you. As you know, we're going to keep an eye on this, and as it develops, we'll be there in the front line covering it. So I appreciate it, my friend. Everybody follow Paul. He's the New Hampshire UFO hunter. You can find him on YouTube. Thanks for the call, my friend. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Hey, great take, man. Love what you're doing. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Talk to you soon. There you go. What is your take on this, guys? We have the Galileo Project being put out there by Avi Loeb and the folks from Harvard, right? Like, there's people in the chat kind of crapping on Harvard, and I get it, right? Academia is really kind of swamped in government money, and it's, once again, it's sort of those things where narratives are, well, let's say difficult to come by, that are honest. Honest narratives are difficult to come by. And so we'll keep an eye on this. Just like I told Paul, they're a great call to kick us off. I appreciate that, Paul. And the question tonight, though, is this. With this Galileo Project coming from Harvard and Avi Loeb, do you think, or do you expect that we'll find something here soon? Because as many of us probably expect, there's a ton of data out there. You can find UFOs on YouTube all the time, right? People have here in the chat have our own photographs of UFOs. We've seen them, maybe not got pictures, got crummy pictures, whatever it happens to be. But if it seems to be UFOs are out there everywhere, what do we expect to find if there's an honest open source project like this, putting telescopes out there looking for what might be coming? What do you expect? That's the question tonight. Is it going to be a big one more nothing burger? Do you think they're going to be honest with the data? Or do you think that it's going to be like, OMG, they are here? Looking for any of that stuff and anything in between. And what is your take on this? Are you, again, like me, because I'm naive, cautiously optimistic, or are you like, nope, this is not happening? But anyway, as we wait for your phone calls, because, well, that's what we do on this show. It's an open line show with looking to hear your takes. Let's hear a little bit more from Avi Loeb. He's actually the guy who put this together, and I got a couple more clips to play from him as we go tonight, so you can hear exactly how he describes this project in his own words. And in the previous clip, he noted space archaeology is kind of what this is going to be. So let's see. This is what's his name? Avi Loeb, Part 3, talking about the Galileo Project.
And over the past 2 weeks, I received donations totaling $1.755 million from donors to my research fund at Harvard University, no strings attached. And this is the foundation for the Galileo Project. The hope is to get 10 times more funding to accomplish a rigorous study of our goals. And of course, unidentified objects are a mixed bag, but even if only one of them is of extraterrestrial technological origin, that would have major implications for humanity. And our goal is to have assemble open data and a transparent analysis following physics as we know it. So let me go through some of the latest data that we obtained. And the first one was on October 19th, 2017, an object called Oumuamua, which means in the Hawaiian language, a scout, was discovered by a telescope in Hawaii, Pan-STARRS, and it was the first object that came from outside the solar system that was spotted near Earth. But it didn't look like any comet or asteroid that we have seen before. When it passed near the sun, the reflected sunlight implied, as it was tumbling, that it's most likely flat, pancake-shaped, the size of a football field, and with, please click, without any gas around it in the way that you see around comets, no trail of gas or dust surrounding it. So it was clearly not a comet. And it exhibited along its orbit an excess push away from the sun that declined inversely with distance squared, the way you expect from reflection of sunlight.
All right, so again, right, he's talking about Oumuamua there, and we've talked about that quite a lot in the past on this show, because as he's describing here, that it's possible there were some anomalous things with this first interstellar object that kind of dipped down past. It was an elliptical orbit. Again, I know a ton about this, so I'm going to bore you to tears if we get talking about Oumuamua, because we followed it as the scientific data came out from one day to the next day. We were all over this when it was happening. And there's some interesting anomalous things about it, and which led this individual, again, Avi Loeb from Harvard, who's starting this Galileo Project, to believe that there's lots of things out there that could be beyond explanation, right? Beyond or have unbelievable explanations. And so he threw out the theory that Oumuamua may have been some sort of light sail, some sort of a technologically advanced civilization that sent maybe a scout or a probe out here to take a look. Maybe it's in a orbital where it kind of goes through particular areas where it comes by to take a snapshot of us, and then takes off to another place and just spends sort of like interstellar time collecting data for an advanced civilization. And that's what he threw out there, right? And he's describing some of the data they've got so far. And just like I said, he's saying this is going to be an open source thing. They're going to be able to collect data, pictures from the sky, and actually we're going to be able to look at this stuff and kind of hopefully get our own disclosure. Kind of like we always said, right? We've always said this. we don't need the government for disclosure, even though it seems to be like nobody will believe it until the little green men land on the White House lawn and the government says they're here. Well, we don't need that at all. And Avi Loeb hopefully is going to make this happen, going to bring this in. So here we go. Let's play the next clip from him, and then we'll round this down. If you guys want to be part of the show, looking for you tonight, give us a call at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Hello? Test 1, 2. What is going on there? Oh, hey, Rohan, mute up, please. You're coming through. I was hearing voices, bro. I was like, what in the world is going on here? Okay, all right. So let's play Avi Loeb, and we'll finish this up. Here we go. Avi Loeb, part 4.
And in order for it to be pushed by reflecting sunlight, it had to be rather thin, sort of like a sail, but not necessarily a light sail. It could have been just an artificial object that is thin. And it had some other unusual properties. It originated from a very special frame of reference, the local standard of rest that you get to when you average over the motions of all stars. And only 1 in 500 local stars are in that frame. So there were many anomalies about this object that I describe in my book, Extraterrestrial, that at least motivated us to suggest that perhaps it's of artificial origin. We don't know. Next slide. And of course, the way to settle it, this is not a philosophical question. The way to settle it is by taking a high-resolution photograph of the object, because they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. In my case, a picture is worth 66,000 words, the number of words in my book, Extraterrestrial. And what you see here is a photograph taken by the OSIRIS-REx mission that approached the asteroid Bennu and took a close-up photograph of it, and in fact took a sample that will be brought back to Earth in 2023. And if we could land on an object like Oumuamua, we could definitely tell whether it's a rock or it's artificial in origin. In fact, we can even read the label made on planet X.
Good joke. All right, so you get the idea, though. So there, basically, if we have, as he noted, I think it was about 1.7 million. He got no strings attached money. He said, just again, that's what you get for being a top 10 or top 5 astronomers or whatever he is in the world. You get rich people. You get notable people that have the resources or contacts to be able to raise money for something like this. And so, like I said, we'll see how this shakes out. As you know, we'll always keep an eye on this as it develops. But are you optimistic about this Galileo project? Do you think it will bring in the actual disclosure we've been looking for, or do you think that again, like Paul was saying, like I was describing, do you believe that unfortunately instead it will be just another kick the can down the field, or yank our chains like they've been doing for the past 70 years? I have no idea, but I do know that if this is real and they're actually going to be truthful about the data they collect, I think that it's probably going to be one of those soon situations that we start to see some amazing things. So cross your fingers. Hope this is actually happening, and that we're actually going to be able to get information out of this. So if you want to be part of the show, as always, this is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange, and you can reach us at 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. And the question tonight is this. With this Galileo project, what do you expect to find? Do you think it's going to be something quick? We're going to be able to dust our hands off in 6 months from now and say, told you so, they're out there? Or do you think this is going to be more obfuscation and just a donor way, a collection plate for the rich people? I don't know. You tell me. I have no idea what to expect, other than we'll keep an eye on this, and hopefully we do see results within the year, which is what Karam here says. Great comment. Appreciate it, guys. One more time. This is Troubled Minds, 702-957-1037. Give us a call. And more Troubled Minds after the break. Don't go anywhere.
Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness.
All right, good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and hello to all of you who may also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? This is the show where we get together Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific. And what do? That's right, we talk about all the things we're not allowed to talk about. And you know what those things are? Aliens, conspiracy, the paranormal, the government, academia, the 24-hour news cycle, propaganda, and the general feeling that we live in the upside down. We are live on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope. We are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM, and we're taking your phone calls. That's what we do because this is an open source show. I always say that we don't have inside sources here because we don't need them. I don't know anybody on the inside of anything. Because basically, when you get enough people together, enough smart, like-minded people, you don't need experts, do you? If everybody's paying attention to what's going on around them, then it's tough to get anything by a concerned group of citizens. And that's what I like to call this. That's what I like to do here. And that's why we have always had an open phone line and continue doing this. So if you want to be part of the show tonight, the number to call is simple as this. Give us a call at 702-957-1037. You can go to troubledminds.org and click the Discord link, and it'll give you a direct invite. You can just pop right in and say hi. And it's a chat client. Discord's a chat client, a voice client, and it's one of the most amazing programs in the internet age, in my opinion. So if you're not on Discord, you're missing out. There's a great community there. And we also got another room running on the same, it's the same software, so you don't have to download anything extra. It's just a different chat room. Go to fringe.fm/chat. It will give you a direct invite, and you'll be in the room. Boom. All right, so what we're talking about tonight is this Avi Loeb thing, all right? So he's done this thing. He's put this together where he's created something called the Galileo Project. Now let's go to gizmodo.com and start with this, and let's see what these folks have to say about it. Now, I think like usual, right? It's good to get as many takes as possible on things because you never know. You never know when you might miss something, and part of why we do the open lines and talk to you guys and all the rest of that is because you never know when you're going to miss it. You can never know when you might miss. That's why I usually pick multiple sources of the same thing just to make sure that I didn't stumble across the worst propaganda version of whatever was being reported. But here we go. Let's go to this and describe what's happening. This is from gizmodo.com. And this is what's happening. The headline is this. Newly launched Galileo Project will hunt for alien technologies in our midst. The project is led by Avi Loeb, a Harvard astronomer who argued that interstellar object Oumuamua might be an alien probe. And yep, let's see. So a new project seeks to uncover evidence of aliens, not by gazing upon distant star systems, but by finding traces of their technologies inside our solar system and even on Earth. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or SETI, S-E-T-I, began in the 1960s, but scientists have yet to find ironclad proof of its existence. Right? The Fox Mulders of the world may argue to the contrary, but UFO sightings, also known as unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs, aren't sufficient evidence for scientists to declare the existence of alien civilizations, they say. A Pentagon report delivered to Congress on June 25th said as much. Here we go, back to the government, right? Quote, the limited amount of high-quality reporting on unidentified aerial phenomenon hampers our ability to draw firm conclusions about the nature or intent of these UAP. Yeah, right? Still, the search for aliens goes on, and it represents one of the most profound, if not the most profound, unanswered questions in science. To that end, a newly launched SETI initiative called the Galileo Project has announced its goal of searching for signs of extraterrestrial technological signatures, but instead of hunting for alien radio signals, which we've called exactly alien technosignatures, or messages encoded in laser light, as other projects have done, these researchers will be searching for physical objects located nearby. These objects could take the form of a passing probe, a small object in orbit around Earth, or, to the delight of you Fox Mulders out there, that's right, UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena. So astronomer Avi Loeb from Harvard University is the co-founder and head of the Galileo Project, named in honor of the unfairly maligned 17th century Italian astronomer. You may already be familiar with Avi Loeb, as he made his many headlines for controversially suggesting that interstellar object Oumuamua was an alien probe, or a light sail, as we described, right? So in addition to being an exotic visitor from afar, Oumuamua exhibited a strange cigar-like shape and appeared to accelerate without the assistance of gravity, leading Loeb to infer the presence of alien technology. All right, so that's probably a good intro to what's going on here and why we're talking about this tonight. Like I said, it's not, I don't think that, this doesn't seem to be a hard thing, right? We have the technology to be looking out in the sky all the time. Kind of like we always say on this show, if you're interested and you really want to make a difference, spend your time looking at the sky whenever you can. Bring a camera, be ready to go. A tripod's best, things like this, right? Do the infrared stuff, do like full color spectrum stuff, because you never know. We've seen things that actually have appeared on infrared that don't appear to the naked eye, as actually Fred out there, Fred in Phoenix, has listened to the show for a long time, and he bought one of those infrared cameras a long time ago, and he's been out kind of scanning the night skies ever since, and finally he caught something. He actually caught something that was invisible to the naked eye, but was visible through the infrared spectrum on his camera that he got. And he was able to share those photographs with us. And so it's a real thing. It's definitely a real thing, whatever the heck is going on out there. But like I said, and like we've kind of joked in the past, do we actually need the government to usher in actual disclosure? And of course, there are larger questions here. As some have stated, are we even ready for disclosure? Kelly in the Facebook chat said no, because we're eating Tide Pods. I kind of have to agree. He's right. Unfortunately, maybe we're not ready, because yeah, that's what it is. So anyway, the question tonight, as we continue talking about this Avi Loeb thing and the Galileo Project, and again, an open source thing from Harvard, and like I said, powerful people in the top end of academia with contacts and able to raise money. Like he was saying, he raised probably 1.7 million right off the bat before they even started for this initiative. So if it is as they say it is, I can't see this being a bad thing. If maybe 1.7 million disappears and nothing happens, well, that's different. But if they actually start, putting the money toward telescopes and scanning the night sky on a nightly basis in different parts of the world, well, we have a different thing entirely, don't we? So I'm looking forward to this. I am, like I said in the beginning of this, cautiously optimistic that we're going to be able to maybe find something here that, as long as the thing that's been in our way has been that the government has been collecting data on this stuff forever, right? We've got the Project Blue Book stuff that was kind of more of a debunking program. We've got this ATIP stuff that they've got three stinking videos of the same damn thing, right? So it doesn't seem like there's been an honest effort from the government to help us with any of this. And all we get is obfuscation and misdirection and CIA agents and things like this, right? So I don't know. That's the question. So if this is real and legit, and we start scanning the skies in an open source manner, what do you guys expect to find out there? That's the question for tonight. That's what we're thinking about. Imagine if all of the sky is full of all these things we've been talking about, as all of us out there have seen, right? Well, maybe not all of us, but probably many of us that listen to this show, you've probably seen something weird in the sky. And maybe you were it was actually misidentified. Maybe it was a terrestrial craft. Who knows, right? Like, those are the things that, sure, fine, they're going to happen. But as we continue to collect data, you're going to maybe run into something that isn't going to be a terrestrial craft, and maybe something else entirely. So that's the deal. That's what's going on here. And I'd like to hear from you. Are you optimistic about this? And do you think it's, again, a money grab, or, we have to have our tinfoil strapped on pretty tight to live in the world we live in, this post-truth world, right? But what do you think? Is this a money grab? Is this more misdirection? Is the government going to be involved with this and redact information? Are they going to think of it this way? If it's a government program out there where we have like these, whatever's happening in the sky is government programs, then this particular Galileo project will start collecting data on classified government stuff, right? So you got to think like something's got to break here, meaning that the government may have to move in and confiscate data, or they may have to censor things. So we'll see how this shakes out and what goes down. But you guys know what I think, but I'm more interested in what you think. So if you want to be part of the show tonight, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. So here we go. We're going to do this. We're going to put, we're going to play just a little bit from Avi Loeb to hear in his words what's going on with this. Let's backtrack just a little bit to make sure we heard what he was describing as he started this space archaeology, as he called it. So here we go. This is Avi Loeb talking about his project, the Galileo Project, which is going to be a way to scan the skies looking for objects within our solar system and within our atmosphere. So here we go. Avi Loeb, action.
So out of modesty, we should assume that under similar circumstances, we might get similar outcomes in tens of billions of other systems within the Milky Way galaxy. We can no longer ignore the possibility that technological civilizations predated us and that we are not the smartest kid on our cosmic block. Most stars formed billions of years before the sun. We know that by observing star formation in the universe. And therefore, there was enough time for another technological civilization, just one that is more advanced than ours, to fill the Milky Way galaxy with probes, with objects, because a billion years is enough time to travel across the Milky Way and basically populate it with artificial intelligence systems that perhaps combined with 3D printers can replicate themselves. And it is time for scientific research on this question of the sky for physical objects. And I call that space archaeology, looking for objects similar to the ones we launched into space. So over the past 4 years, there were two intriguing findings in this context. One is Oumuamua, and the other one is unidentified aerial phenomena. And I will touch on both in a few minutes. But a month after the unidentified aerial phenomena report was delivered to Congress, we decided to announce the Galileo Project. It's a scientific, based on non-governmental data that we will assemble as scientists to address the question, are we the smartest kid on our cosmic block?
There you go. Are we the smartest kids on our cosmic block? And, space archaeology is a good way to put it, I think, because, like some people have mentioned in the chat out there, the Black Knight satellite, things like this, maybe they can get to the bottom of what's actually happening out there. And again, if it's public information, like I said, I think this may be good. This may be a good thing that we don't have to go through the government, through their filter to gain data on what's actually happening in the sky. So if you want to be part of the show, we're talking about what do you expect to find if given our druthers, basically, we're given open source data from professional telescopes and a network of astronomers, what would you expect to find out there in the sky? That's the question tonight. So if you want to give us a call, 702-957-1037, troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link, get in here, and we'll talk about this stuff. Let's go to Robert in Pennsylvania. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you?
Fine. How are you?
Doing very well. Doing what we do, man, talking about UFOs and other weirdness. What do you think about this, the Galileo Project? Do you think this is, again, like some have suggested, maybe a money grab, or do you think this actually shows promise for disclosure?
I think it's probably folly. I don't think it's. I have no idea whether it be a scam or whatever, but I think it's folly. There's been all kinds, for 50, 60, 100 years. There's been ideas like this to search for other life or floating around the solar system or further out. But one thing really irritates me about intelligent people in Harvard: the assumption that planets that don't have atmospherics like our own, gravity like our own, all the things that make us able to live on this planet, if those planets don't have it, then they're not inhabitable. And for me, I think the universe doesn't. It seems to be rather conservative, and I can't imagine the universe would allow planets to be created and then wasted. Maybe, we're the odd creatures out in the way that we evolved. Maybe the life on other planets in our solar system don't look like Robert Aaron, Michael Strange, Vicky Collier, Robert Osborne, Robert Caldwell, or anyone else in the Troubled Minds universe. But maybe we are the odd creatures out in the way we have evolved. An octopus is likely more intelligent than humans are, even though it doesn't build cities and cell phones. We think intelligence must be civilization building like we have done. But other intelligent planetary creatures may just have taken a different path. Maybe they don't have cars or spacecraft because they don't need them. Maybe there's life on Saturn, on Jupiter, on Venus, even Mercury. They may be harsh for us to exist on. We may not be able to exist on them, but that doesn't mean intelligent life does not exist on them. Nobody's been able to prove otherwise.
That's true, and that's a very good point too. That we do think in terms of anthropomorphic things, right? We want to make everything like us. Anthropomorphic. That's what I'm looking for. And so maybe you're right. Maybe they don't need UFOs. Maybe what we're seeing is something completely different. Like maybe the life forms themselves are the orbs or whatever we're witnessing. I like that idea, man. So with this project, though, do you think this is any different from the government stuff? Or do you think that we'll find some new evidence or new information that may be compelling?
Well,
or are you looking to be...
If they're looking for in a narrow focus, of intelligence, that is a carbon copy of our own, right? That's a narrow focus. They're not opened up to anything that could be, like I've said earlier, different than us. So what they're doing is they're looking for us out there, and maybe we're not out there because we're that different. All right, and if they do that, it's doomed to failure. Because I'm sure, just like there's a million varieties of insects and thousands and thousands of varieties of animals on this planet, the same goes for the solar system and the universe as a whole.
True. I agree. I think that. But still,
maybe they don't have television. They don't have radio. They never needed it. So you're not going to get a signal, from some planet that is broadcasting old reruns of I Love Lucy.
Right. Yeah.
You have to be open to anything that indicates life. Just like the Mars rover, digging down the dirt, maybe find some microbial life there. All right, that's life. It's not something that builds a city. It's not something that makes a cell phone, but it's life. And that doesn't mean that's the only life. Just like ash.
Right.
There may be civilizations on planets that don't live on the surface. A lot of creatures that are on our planet don't live on the surface.
That's true.
Can you say that ants aren't intelligent?
Well, it depends on who you ask. Depends on who you ask. Some people would say no. But you're right. They're finding a way, aren't they? They're intelligent enough to make it happen. And so I think that's probably all you need, right?
Right. If we started off as microbial organisms, and somehow we put it all, we blended together, we put cells together, and we became what we are, that was under the conditions, the environmental conditions that we have here. And if there's microbial life on Mars, there's nothing to say that didn't happen there. But they evolved in a different way, maybe look a lot different. All right, just because they have a different environment.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's not as.
What I'm saying is that.
Go ahead. You're good. Go ahead.
I'm saying that if this Galileo Project is going to succeed, have any chance of success, it has to broaden its idea of what it's looking for as far as intelligent evidence of intelligence in this solar system, in the universe in its entirety. They have to be open to something that's just so strange, but something they should not ignore. They're looking for you. All right, they may find you on the very edge of the universe, looking back at yourself, but they're not going to find you, running around in a spaceship.
Yeah, of course not. Well, I get what you're saying here is that we're not expecting to find us, though we're kind of looking in these very narrow spectrums of like human life, which it seems silly. It seems silly to look there, but that's where science wants to begin because they think life is going to be just like us. Well, I think you know better. I think I know better. It's not going to be like that at all. I would be shocked if there were 2 arms and 2 legs and 2 eyeballs and 2 ears on whatever we find out there. So that's what this is about. I don't know. I think it can't be a bad thing to put more telescopes in the sky looking for this stuff, right? As long as people have access to the data, this can't be bad, right? It can't be a bad thing.
I'm not saying it is. It's a nice little hobby, right? But it's probably doomed to failure because of a narrow focus. What's more likely to happen, and has happened, is detecting life by methane. All right, if you find a planet that shows methane, then you know that there's some life there, because life makes methane. All right, but maybe I just don't understand how they plan to find it. If they're just going to do it with telescopes, and I mean, you need to be able to examine planets for atmospherics, signs of gases that would indicate life.
I agree, and hopefully they're going to be looking for those things as well.
But of course, then I'm showing my own hypocrisy there, because maybe a lot of intelligent life in our solar system or beyond in the universe, maybe they don't pass gas.
Amen, brother. We got to go. We're out of time. You're the best, Robert. I'll talk to you soon. I appreciate the call.
Okay.
Got it. Thanks, bro.
Bye.
Good stuff. Good stuff from Robert as always. All right, this is Troubled Minds on Michael Strange. We're taking your phone calls. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are streaming live on Facebook, DLive, YouTube, and Periscope, and we are broadcasting live on the Fringe FM. And we're taking your phone calls. Tonight, we're talking about Avi Loeb and his Galileo Project, a privately funded disclosure project where they're going to get money, they're going to get telescopes, they're going to point them at the sky, they're going to collect data, it's going to be open source, and we're going to be able to say, hey, what's that out there and then their skies? Are we looking forward to the data, or do we think, again, the government's going to step in and say, well, no, national security, you can't be showing all our classified stuff to the world. That's not within the purview of what the government does. But so that's kind of the thing, right? That's exactly what we're looking at here. Are we hyped up about this? It was just announced yesterday. Avi Loeb, again, is a noted astronomer that works for Harvard, one of the tops in the world, has a very powerful network of people, friends, and resources. And so maybe this gets it done. Maybe this is the shot in the arm the Disclosure Project was looking forward to, instead of, right, this Tom DeLonge song and dance of him, tweeting and deleting things. Anyway, let's go to, we got some calls. We're taking your phone calls if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. Let's go to Beechwood in Massachusetts. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds. How are you tonight?
Hey, what's up, man? I'm doing awesome. Really good show, really good topic. I wasn't actually thinking, lately I've been thinking a lot about divine intervention, but that's just what's been going through my head. But as far as like this subject, I think everybody should be optimistic about searching and, finding. I'm very intrigued, by what's out there. I think it's kind of an adrenaline rush, and I think it serves a purpose too. To what's actually out there, I think it's beyond your wildest imagination. I don't see that we could be the only advanced intelligent civilization. I think we're seeded from one myself. But as far as things being nearby and surveying the sky, I'm all for it. And with this particular thing with Harvard, with him, I think there may be like some inside quarrel between him and Harvard. Harvard is a weird place, man. They have a lot of pull. They're old. They've been around forever. They own tons of land. Like I shovel in town in winter. I do snow removal. And like they own just so much land. They rake in money. And one of the things that like throws me off about it with the term Harvard is how this guy got privately funded money. And he said it was like 1.7 million or whatever, however much it was. But like when you're talking Harvard, that's chump change. That's like a couple of dropouts. That's what it would cost.
Right.
And
exactly.
like Hubble telescope was like $5 billion. So I want it to be like, I want them to start a program and surveil the skies. Whether they're already doing it and not telling us is another question. But I think there's probably something behind the scenes with Harvard and him in particular. And that's like probably a separate issue from maybe how he feels about the actual situation.
Yeah, that could be.
That's just my gut instinct with Harvard in particular. Just them in particular, because they're such an old, dug-in organization.
Yeah, you are definitely correct. That is old money for sure, and they've been around for a very long time. But again, so part of it, it's not like a direct Harvard initiative. I think it's a private thing that's happening with him, as far as I understand it. So I don't know that if it's like an actual, like funded by Harvard. I think it's completely separate. And so that's part of being having friends in that network. Like you said, there's money there. So maybe, hopefully, cross your fingers, there's going to be no dirty shenanigans or politics or whatever needs to happen to make this stuff give us new data. I mean, isn't this what we've been asking for in general terms from the government? At least to myself, anyway. That we'd love to get our hands on some, data from the government, because we know they've been collecting it for a long time. So if we start to get some of this, even without like the government gizmos with, radar data and things like this, I think it begins. I think it really begins this conversation forward. And to be perfectly honest, I'm more optimistic about something like this than I would be for that Lou Elizondo thing, whatever's going on with that drama and the government and Tom DeLonge, and like who knows what kind of garbage is going on behind the scenes there. So I think this is probably a better way to go about it, in my opinion. But we'll see. Time will tell, won't it?
Yeah, definitely. As far as like, finding what's out there and looking for yourself, I consider that just like a completely separate subject. And I look at that as all positivity. Like, yeah, you may not find anything, but I try to leave, like, although money's involved because you need money to build things, I try to leave the business world, like, out of that aspect of like the human's intuition to discover and to actually, discover what else is out there. And then you look at, like, here on Earth, they discover new species of insects, fish, even birds, like, all the time. It's not a rare thing. It happens all the time. And people just aren't interested in it, not in the mainstream. And then the last big point, too, also I wanted to make about Harvard that I know for, like, 99% fact is we shovel the roofs there. So when you shovel a roof, they send you around with a maintenance man. And the maintenance man there, they got a sweet gig, man. They get benefits and everything. But we were, just talking, and the guy was telling me how they cover up a lot of stuff that doesn't make the news. And I know it might sound like a sick, weird conversation, but he was talking about the amount of kids that, like, commit suicide when they're there, like, because of the pressure in the finals, and it never makes the news, ever. Like, you hardly ever hear about it. And he's like, oh, no, there's dozens of them. And I was like, really? And he's like, oh, yeah, it happens all the time. And he's like, sometimes the family doesn't want it to get out, sometimes this, but it just wasn't in the mainstream media, and it happened. So if it happens once, it's like a cockroach. There's going to be 10 times more where, something happened and you didn't get the whole truth. And, but as far as looking into space, man, I get, like, when I walk down to the beach, I know what's across the ocean. And it doesn't depress me, but I imagine what it was like for someone to look across the ocean and really not know it was across the other side. Like that, it must have been a rush. Just must have been fun. But no, great show, great takes, and I hope some first-time callers call in and give us some info.
Appreciate it, my man. Beechwood, always great stuff from you. Thanks for the call. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, my man. Take it easy.
You too. There you go. Easy as that. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Let's go to Daryl in New York. What's up, my friend? You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. How are you?
Hey, Michael. How are you?
I'm doing very well. What do you think about this Harvard stuff? Do you we have a disclosure on the way or more BS?
Well, I think somebody beat him to this. And I mentioned her before on your show. Her name is Sue Walker, and she's got like 1,000 videos, not only of our planet, but of other planets, where she can make out, something similar to the Nazca line that you can only see from literally outer space. You can't even see it from an airplane. It's much further away. The visibility of these things that are etched into the native rock or whatever, however they make these indentations to last forever. They don't go away. They're permanent markings on the planets. So they were not just done on Earth, but they've been done on Jupiter and whatever planet she has access to with the telescope. And she has illustrations on her channel. Besides other things, she can talk to. There's these aliens in the mountains of Albuquerque or New Mexico called the Ponte, and she.
I'm sorry, Daryl. Again, as usual, right in the middle of a great call, my phone line dropped. So I'm going to call this back. 1 second. We'll be right with you. Sorry about that. If you guys want to be part of the show and maybe get your call dropped, 702-957-1037. You can thank one of the largest companies in the world for this amazing phone service I'm using. I won't call them out, well, because you can probably guess who they are. So sorry about that, Daryl. Let's go back to, let's see. Can we do it? Are we going? There we go. You should be back, Daryl. Are you there? Sorry about that. You got cut off.
Oh, gosh. You didn't hear me at all?
No, you started, and then you were on something amazing. You were talking about a channel with Nazca lines and different planets, and then it cut you off. So sorry about that.
Oh, dear. Okay. So anyway, I'm going to share her some of her videos on your chat room. But she also has a way to talk to these aliens in Albuquerque or New Mexico. They're in the Sandia Mountains. They even have a Twitter channel. And she's been on all the fringe shows. Like a while ago, she made the runs on Gigi's show. She was on Shift Happens. And she's been on, like, John Polk was on Quantum. He had a show called the Quantum Hologram Matrix. So he was really big on them. And they teach you how to talk to these aliens. But they showed her how to spot these, images on Earth and in other planets using high-power telescope. So she kind of beat this guy to the punch, except she has no money behind her. You know, she's all self-promoting. But she's got thousands of these videos on YouTube illustrating the drawings that are billions of years old. If they're on our planet and they're old, they're going to be even older on other planets. And you'll see, you know, how she makes the drawings. You could play it in fast motion. It's pretty cool. So anyway, I just thought I would mention that. So I don't think she's the first in discovering other, you know, artifacts on other planets. She'd certainly beat him to the punch, so doesn't have any money behind her. But I was thinking you might want to have her as a guest, maybe. She's overdue to come out and talk about it.
Gotcha. Okay. So please share her stuff in the Discord, like you said. And that's another reason you guys should join the Discord. People sharing amazing links and things you may not have heard of. And the conversation goes on 24 hours a day over there. So thank you, Daryl, for the amazing call. Anything else while we got you on the phone tonight?
Okay. Talk to you soon.
All right.
Oh, no, that's it. I'm done.
Okay. Thanks,
Okay,
Daryl.
bye.
Appreciate it. There you go. Simple as that. That's Daryl from New York, friend of the show, and she's going to share that information in the Discord. And that's exactly why we do it in this format, right? I'm not bringing any answers to anybody, just kind of looking at the news and maybe asking some questions here. And that's what we do. So we got some hot takes from lots of smart people. So let's go to this next call here in just a second after I put the phone number up. If you guys want to be part of the show, we have time for you. 702-957-1037. Go to troubledminds.org, the official website. Click on the Discord link, and the phone number's right on top. You can't miss it. Let's go to whoever is waiting. You're on Troubled Minds with Mike. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Michael. It's Vicky Collier.
Vicky, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I love your show always. And what we're talking about today, I do not think that once he figures out stuff, that he's going to be allowed to share it with us. Because look at our government, how they're even trying to keep everything secret from us about whether it is a virus that's going around, even the information about the shot, you know?
Yep.
Everything, even about the aliens, you know, they're not gonna tell. They don't want us to know anything.
I think you're right. I think, like I said, I think you're right. I think you're correct here. Is that getting any truthful information from the government has been futile for a very long time, since 1947 when they implemented the National Security Act. And since then, it's been nothing but fighting tooth and nail to get any good information. And all we ever get is redacted documents, lies, spin, half-truths, and just a bunch of BS. So I'm with you. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that maybe Avi Loeb and his crew find some things, and then the government steps in and says, no, you can't release that. I think that's likely to happen, to be perfectly honest.
Yep. Because they want to keep us dumb.
I agree, and uninformed. And if you have an uninformed population, they're much easier to control because you get to tell them what to think, and then they'll do as you please. But not us. We're trying to be informed. We're concerned citizens, and yeah. So do you think then this has a chance to give us new information, or are you just pessimistic? This is just another BS thing that they're gonna send to us and say, oh look, it's the shiny new object.
I think the latter.
Yeah. I kind of.
They're not. Oh.
Yeah. So what do you think is out there for us to find? Do you think there's anything amazing that we could find, given that no government interference?
I think that there could be, yes. But they're not going to let us know.
Yeah, agreed. We can definitely agree on that part. And that's why we get together and talk about this stuff, because I think if you took a survey on this, we should put up a poll. Actually, I'll see if I can put up a poll with this YouTube as it goes up to see if we can get people to take it. And I'll bet you. I don't want to skew the results of the poll, so I'm not going to tell you what I think it's going to say. But I think it's probably going to be a little more in line with what you're describing here. You're amazing. I appreciate the call. Anything else while we got you on tonight?
No, just a wonderful show. And so you guys made the money and stuff that you needed to on the weekend?
Yeah, so the goal was actually met, and very, very good stuff. So thank you again to all the folks out there that contributed this weekend to the goal, the fundraiser. Appreciate that a lot.
Thank you for staying up so late.
You got it. You got it. It was fun. It was fun.
Oh, sweet. No rest for the wicked.
There you go. No rest for the wicked. Thank you, Vicky. I appreciate the call. We'll talk to you soon. Thank you for listening. Thanks for all the amazing chat and the great call. There you go, guys. If you want to be part of the show, we got a few minutes left for you. If you have your takes on this, what do you think? Do you think is Vicky right that the government may step in and we're not going to get anything out of this? It's just a new shiny object per se, or do you think that we can be hopeful for Avi Loeb's new Galileo Project? That's the question tonight. And so if you want to be part of the show, got a few minutes just for you, 702-957-1037, or you can jump in the Discord and we'll put you on the show that way as well. So that's what's going on tonight. I don't know, right? I like I said, because I'm a little naive, I'm going to be cautiously optimistic about this. I don't really want to, instantly crap on it or crap on the idea, because I think this is exactly where we need to be with this, with again, taking the disclosure bull by the horns, as it were, because we don't need to wait for the government. We don't need to wait for that stuff. Why would you? They've had their chance. They've had so many chances over the years to really give us good information, and they haven't. And so if we're going to find this, if we're going to find the truth behind this, whatever that truth is, if we're going to find it, I think it's up to us to go out and look at the skies and collect as much data as possible and share it with maybe a program like this. So I would be really thrilled if they did like this Avi Loeb thing, did sort of like a MUFON sort of situation, right? Where they had, but instead of, taking people's information and putting it behind a paywall and making TV shows out of it for profit, it was all completely open source, and we could also send our own information to one huge database that we could all access. Wouldn't that be amazing? No, that would be a step in the right direction, and I think is where we need to head here. And lots of good chat out there. I'm reading all the chat, guys, as usual, trying to keep up with it. And there's some people who seem maybe optimistic, some people who don't, and I think that's why we should probably do a poll on this. But basically, what do you think? It comes down to, I can tell you what I think all day long, but it's only just one person, me, right? But like I always say, you get us together, you get a lot of smart people, and ask the right questions, and I think that it'll bring you closer to whatever perceived truth it is you're trying to reach there. So that's what we're doing tonight. If you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. So let me read just a little bit from this Galileo Project, okay? I'm going to put the link up here, and you guys can check it out as usual. I encourage you to read the links. They're actually all there on all the chats, they're on Facebook, they're on YouTube, and I'm linking my sources right now in the chat as well. So here we go. So here's what they say their goal is, all right? Their goal is exactly this. I'm going to read this in just one sec here after I drop it in the Facebook chat. All right, lots of chats, lots of things, trying to juggle them all and keep up. But okay, here we go. So here's the deal. Robert says this too. What's up, Robert on Facebook says, information is power, and the government will always monopolize power. And that's a good way to put this. Fantastic. Well said. All right, so this is the Galileo Project. The project goal, straight from their website, straight from their document. The goal of the Galileo Project is to bring the search for extraterrestrial technological signatures of ETCs, extraterrestrial technological civilizations, from accidental or anecdotal observations and legends to the mainstream of transparent, validated, and systematic scientific research. This ground-based project is complementary to traditional SETI, which of course would be the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, in that it searches for physical objects and not electromagnetic signals, which are also known as ET technosignatures, right? Associated with extraterrestrial technological equipment. Irrespective of the possibility that the Galileo Project may discover additional or even extraordinary evidence for ETCs, at a minimum, the Galileo Project will gather rich data sets that may foster the discovery of, or better scientific explanations for, novel interstellar objects with anomalous properties, and for potential new natural atmospheric phenomena, or in some cases, terrestrial technology explanations for many of the presently inexplicable UAP. And that's I think, that seems solid to me. The only thing I would add to that is if we could submit our own evidence as well, right? If they would do something like that and allow us to contribute in sort of a crowdsource sort of way, this is what we need. This will change the game as long as they don't redact information, as long as they don't paywall things, as long as they don't let the government step in. I think this is good. I think the idea is good. It's sound. However, like always, right, we haven't really considered the meddling government yet. We haven't considered big money interests that may not want this information out there, like maybe Robert Bigelow, guys like that, who again spent all that money collecting all kinds of data and really never shared it to the world. So, it's suspicious. This type of stuff is suspicious, but I think this is exactly where we need to be based on, looking at the sky, finding out what the truth is of what's actually happening out there. So that's the deal. That's what we do on this show. Like again, sometimes we get somebody disappointed, tune into the show, and they're like, wow, where's the aliens, right? Like, well, how come you're not telling about, Alpha Centauri and the guy that came from there and, abducted this guy and that guy? We do that sometimes, but it's not really what this show's about. This show's about kind of watching the news cycles. This show's about asking questions, and this show's about asking you what you think about it and getting enough people together to get some really good ideas of what's happening in the world around us. That's really what this show's about. And yeah, we talk about ETs, we talk about UFOs, we talk about all kinds of stuff. So, sorry if you show up and you wanted me to talk about, I don't know, the whatever it is. And yeah, I see some of the reviews out there. You know who I'm talking to. Anyway, so point being is that we do this again, like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 p.m. Pacific, and we'll be back tomorrow night at 7. And we'll have Ash the Reptilian from Mars here for our Weird Wednesdays because, well, every time Ash shows up, things get extra super weird. So that's what's going on with this show. And again, like I said, we have time for you if you want to be part of it. We're always taking phone calls, 702-957-1037, and that's that. But as we finish up, don't worry. The bad news is we're done for tonight on The Fringe. The good news is you have Joe Roop Lighting the Void coming up next if you're listening to The Fringe FM. If you're listening to us on the podcast feed, the D-Live, Facebook, YouTube, or Periscope, there is a third hour of Troubled Minds on the way. So we're still taking phone calls and still considering this may be a good project or a bad project or whatever else it is that you guys consider this to be. So we're still doing that. And as we finish, let's play some music. Let's do our thing. Let's do the radio thing and smash the music button. All right, so like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific. This is Troubled Minds. I'm Michael Strange. This is not the answer show. This is the question show. And as we finish, you know the drill. Bad news is we're done for the evening on Fringe. The good news is we'll be back tomorrow, God willing, at 7 p.m. Pacific. Thanks for hanging out with us tonight. I know you could be doing a million things, but instead, you're here with us. As we finish, be sure, be strong, be true. Thank you for listening. From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. We are off the Fringe. You guys know the drill. This is where we let our hair down. I'm going to drop my pants because, well, why not? And let's do this. Let's get a little bit weird and continue talking and thinking about what is happening with this disclosure project. We have Avi Loeb and the Galileo Project supposedly going to be an open source disclosure project with private money funding, and hopefully we're going to be able to participate and access the data directly. So, like I said, this is an important thing. If this happens, well, it's definitely a tool. And so many people have tried this before. I think Tom DeLonge actually tried this with Project Adam or some other things. But people have described things like this that are connected to the government as being, well, they were going to collect data and just feed it straight to the government, which of course wouldn't give it back once they parsed it. Problems, right? This seems to be something else. Anyway, I'm still looking to hear from you guys tonight. We're talking Avi Loeb, this Galileo Project. What does it mean? Is this where the future needs to be as far as its disclosure? Looking to hear from you. 702-957-1037. 2-minute break. More Troubled Minds on the way. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back to Troubled Minds. I'm your host, Michael Strange, and we are talking about this project known as the Galileo Project. And of course, Avi Loeb brought this out yesterday in a news conference, and there's a whole YouTube video. It's an entire hour long, and there's a lot of good information in there. And sort of again, back to what the idea is behind this is it's disclosure, right? It's actually learning about what's happening in our atmosphere, on our Earth, in our solar system, and pointing telescopes and doing it without a government interference. But, well, of course, unfortunately, that's as we know, right, if they start to collect, let's say, classified data, well, we'll see what the government has to say about it. So that's really part of the problem here with a thing like this. But yeah, that's what we're doing tonight. That's what we're talking about, and we're still taking your phone calls. So we'll play a little bit some clips from Avi Loeb. So I came prepared tonight because I figured that we get less calls than usual tonight, and it's been about average, but it hasn't been off the hook like some other nights. But I brought clips to play so I could drink beer, because I anticipated this. So if you guys want to reverse the course on me, then call. Simple as that. I had a feeling, though. But if you want to be part of the show, 702-957-1037. That's 702-957-1037. Troubledminds.org. Click the Discord link. Get in here and let's talk about this stuff. Is this... again, right, something that's a good, like kind of heading us in the correct direction, or do you think that this is easily meddled onto by the government and basically, going to be covered behind whatever the heck, national security concerns, things like this? I think that's the question tonight. I see you there, Kelly, so whenever you're ready, buddy. But we are still taking your phone calls, guys, 702-957-1037. And we got Kelly here, and he's going to be ready whenever he's ready. Yeah, let's see. What else do we got? Just reading some of the... Richard says, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, everybody's talking about pop music. Pop music. What's up, guys? What's up, Kelly? How are you?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. What do you think about this? You probably hadn't heard of this yet because it's brand spanking new.
Yeah, I haven't heard of this particularly, but yeah, Avi Loeb, everybody knows him for the scientist from Harvard, with his thing on the Muamua. But no, this is the first time I ever heard this.
Yeah, literally yesterday they released the press conference. I'll actually put that YouTube video in the chat if anybody wants to watch the whole press conference. But this was literally yesterday. It just went down. So yeah, what do you think about it though, from what you've heard so far?
I'm like you. I'm going to be a little optimistic. Hopefully that, he doesn't get reached out to by a certain government. You know what I mean? So he, because, just like everybody else too, they get swayed in a particular direction, and, you don't get the truth anymore. So, yeah, I mean, especially being a Harvard, what I like about the guy was, he was the first. Well, I wouldn't say the first, but he was a Harvard university, professor that came out, a science professor that, with space, and they came out saying that, hey, this could be an alien probe, which was pretty amazing. And he came out, and he, instead of those type of people like that, that's. In those type of establishments, they gonna get frowned upon, or, sometimes they would like to try to shut them down, or even get rid of them out of the, those universities, because, You know, it's going against what their narrative too.
Yeah, here's actually a good take from the chat here. I hadn't seen this, so let's see what you think about this as well. It says, Mike, Robert says this on Facebook. Mike, maybe this is the way for the government to save face from lying forever. I think that's a good take there. Maybe it's a way for them to maybe be a part of this instead of trying to shoot it down, right? That would make a little bit of sense.
Yeah, but he's saying that it's not going to be government funded, correct?
Yeah, so it's going to be privately funded.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it could be. I mean, you couldn't take that away. But, you know, for me, if he wants to, like, look for objects, you know, that he's explaining that's even in the atmosphere or, you know, in, I would say, our solar system or even, you know, deep space, I would suggest that he get a hold of a man named John Leonard Walson. You ever heard of him?
No, never heard that name.
He does a lot of videos. There's 3 of them that I'll post, and but he's an amateur astronomer and an astrophotographer, and the stuff that he's captured is pretty amazing. I mean, they're spaceships, but they're massive in size. They look like things that would be. I mean, you can't. From what he's captured, you know, when you see him, I mean, there's light glistening off of him, like obviously like the sun or something. But these things are massive. They have to be miles wide. And what's interesting is that when he's filming them, you know, it shows him. He's got pictures at first he shows, and then he'll show you what he's filming, right, through, you know, his computer system. But then he'll show himself videotaping the screen and then looking, you know, to show you that it's not fake, you know what I mean? That it's not computerized, that he's actually filming these things at the same time. So he has a telescope that's connected to a computer system, that's the next thing I want, what he's got. But anyway, he's recording this. And the things that the objects are sitting in different like star systems. Like for instance, he said one would be like in the Milky Way. He knows where, you know, they're tracking them, and he tracks them also in like the star system, Orion's belt, in the Orion system. You know, he says, you know, because they have a slow moving elliptical orbit, so it looks like, you know, they just roll with the star system, like, you know, when they roll across the sky, you know. But like I said, when you look at them, man, you can tell they're ships. They even, like, I would say, like, almost, I wouldn't say transform, but they, you know, they spread out and then you know, they'll close back up. It's like they're, you know, testing something or something. Man, I'll post it and you can check it out. There's 3 of them there is that I have seen, ran across, but it talks about this man. And man, if he wants to get to, that's what I'm saying. If he wants to see something that close, or in, you know, in the proximity that he's talking about, that would be one man to get a hold of, is John Walson.
Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing some of those videos he's got. And I agree with you. I'm not sure what that would be amazing to have a telescope you could hook up to the computer for like capturing images, still images, or even video, and then being able to do like post-processing directly. That would be amazing. Like to do the kind of infrared filters and, you know, full spectrum color type stuff. That would be incredible. You might be able to spot all kinds of sweet things, huh?
Oh yeah. I mean, the stuff he's got. I mean, the stuff I have. You know, I just need something to hook up to where, you know, do like the camera, which I can do that. But it's easier with something like that because you can control it scanning the sky. Either you can, you know, so it slowly moves with it. Like say the moon. You know, I can get really up close to it with my telescope. I'm talking like, it looks like it puts you right on the moon, but you have to constantly move it. You know what I mean? With these new ones you got, you know, you can just go ahead and just set it up and it just constantly slowly moves with the objects you're looking at.
Which is still sweet. You can get pictures too. I've seen some of the photographs you've done there, right?
Oh yeah. I got some pretty good stills. Yeah, I mean, but something like that, if he's looking for something like that, like a big telescope. So this is what I'm going to do when I win my this lottery, is that I want to build a telescope like universities have, the big ass ones where you open up, the doors open up, and then you have the mirror. That what some of them have the reflection with telescopes where their mirror is probably like about 20 feet in diameter, but I want something something a little bit better than that. I want to look into some real deep space objects. That's what I would do. And if he has the ability to do that, working at a university like that, I mean, I don't know if they'll, let him do that because, again, a lot of these universities are government funded. So if he would have to do it privately. And there's a lot of private billionaires out there that has like private telescopes and stuff like that size anyway.
Yeah, it exists, and that's kind of why if this is again like one of those things that can be done without government interference, it's important because you have access to some of this stuff anyways. Like maybe they can rent time from some of these actual, who knows? I don't know. Like I don't know why they're raising money if they can use university resources. It doesn't make much sense. But who knows? Like maybe this telescope was booked up, every hour for all year long, for all I know. But those are the types of things that if he can build them, that's amazing. I'm with you, man. Like I would love to have something like that. Imagine, right? I'm here broadcasting, and I look up, and there's like the observatory right above me. That would be hot, man. That would be hot. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty fire too. Another thing would be awesome is that you get with what's his name, Elon Musk, and have him shoot you out if you have the money, like that. I'm saying, if money was no object, I'd even have satellites or like a Hubble telescope. That's what the ultimate would be, because that way these governments have no way. I mean, I wouldn't even go to them for nothing, because you would have all the evidence you have right there in the palm of your hand. To fix that thing on something from outer space. Oh man. I mean, that'd be the ultimate proof of everything.
Yeah, and like tell me I didn't see it. I took the picture from right here. Nobody meddled with it, right? Yeah, that would be it, man. That would be it. That's hot. I wonder how much it costs to set up at least a rig, something similar. I don't know. Anyway, I guess I could look into it. Not like a huge dome like academia has or anything, but there's got to be a way for I don't know what, several, like 10 grand, maybe 15, 20. I don't know. I'm not sure how much it would cost to do something impressive that you could hook up directly to computer for imaging and things like that. But I mean, it can't be millions, can it?
Oh no, you can get nice ones for, like, if you're saying, okay, it depends on how big you want. Like I've got ones where, because there's a station that I want to set up when I get the property that I want here in Colorado. But I already have like the telescopes you can get, the ones I've seen about 48 inches, which is 4 feet diameter. But you can make some of those ones you can just make. You just need the mirror for the reflection. It's got to be totally flat. That's what's going to cost you the money. But if you want like some of the computerized ones like that, you can also, probably, you can get one, a fabulous one for 10 grand. But what I'm talking about is they make these ones, looks like a dome where you can, it's like a backyard dome. And there's probably about 20 foot in diameter. But, you can open up the doors just like that, like, the big giant telescopes that they have. And, you have like your own observatory. Yeah, 10 grand would get you something really nice. But, yeah, but no, if I'm talking like the big giant ones, like, that are like enormous.
So you're talking like $1 million, right? You're talking a lot of money.
40 million. You know what
40
I'm saying?
million.
That's just something like that. But no, you can get some pretty nice stuff. You know what I mean? If you want to do, I wouldn't say so much amateur astronomy, but like even going up an upper grade than that. Yeah, you can get some pretty nice telescopes. I mean, there's nothing you can't get a hold of, even renting it too.
Yeah,
but I just wanted to also kind of bring up something. I was thinking about this guy, and then there again he was talking about Oumuamua. But I was also thinking, okay, so if you were a civilization, like, okay, say a little bit more advanced than what we are, and then you want to send some deep space probes. You know what I was thinking is that an asteroid would probably be your best bet. A hollowed out asteroid, maybe, where you can put all the instruments or whatnot. But like on the surface, you wouldn't have to worry about all the radiation being bombarded. Yes, it's going to be bombarding these things anyway, but you won't have the degradation of the breakdown of like these metals or any kind of other type stuff that you have that's going to be that might not make it through space. An asteroid would actually kind of be pretty smart, actually. You know what I mean? It's already in you can send it in any kind of orbit. As you get a little smaller asteroid or whatnot or anything, so it will bounce off of it. Really, pretty much. It could take the deep rigors of space already. That's pretty actually a smart idea for a probe or something.
Yeah, for sure. And well, I mean, that's that. I think that is definitely out of our price range. Even if we win the lottery, right? I think you need NASA money for that sort of thing.
You know what I mean? For a civilization, you could probably just do a hollowed out asteroid and send that out. You know what I mean? With all the instead of like metals. You know what I'm saying? Instead of like something that's going to be it could run into something and get destroyed, or even through radiation being bombarded by different solar systems.
Yeah, that makes sense. We're talking about maybe in the coming years here, not us, the governments, of course, building a huge observatory on the back side of the moon, the dark side of the moon, so there would be no light pollution from the Earth, and they could go directly into space. It's almost one of the perfect places to put a really large telescope. And you don't have to worry about decay because things on the moon last for a very long time. You don't have to worry about orbiting decays with a thing eventually shutting down in space. You could send people up there to fix it if necessary. So I think this stuff is coming. If we don't have it up there already, I think this stuff is on the way. Just as always, the political will, right? Like who's got the balls to say, well, this is what we're doing next and make it happen. That always becomes a problem with stuff like this, doesn't it?
Yeah, and giving out that information when you do get it, I don't know, like, that's the hard part for me. If he's going to run across, if he was how to give out this information, you just send it out. I don't know, I would probably just send it out to, you can't actually send it out to, like, ABC, CBS, because, I don't know, I mean, they're part of the whole system, too. And there's no real journalism anymore, but you'd have to get on somewhere where a platform where it's going to be seen by millions of eyes at one time before they try to shut that shit down.
Exactly. Robert here says on the chat on Facebook, the deep state will infiltrate the Galileo Project. If they actually find irrefutable proof of intelligent life beyond Earth, expect research staff to start jumping out of Harvard windows to their deaths. And I think maybe that's could be an unfortunate truth here, right?
Well, with that, see, and how I would try to eliminate that would be once your team is set up, there would be no newcomers in. That would be it. And that would be the trusted field that you have. Because the more people that you let in, the more of that infiltration that you're going to have. And yes, they don't even need that anymore. It's not like a spy thing anymore. They could listen through any kind of, probably any device, electronic device, but, to keep that on a hush, you still listen through walls and everything else. There'd be ways for them to do it, but how are you going to stop it when you're, like I said, if you have a platform with millions of eyes at one time, that's what you need.
Exactly right. I think it's possible. Again, like these with technology today, I think they had, some project where they had people using their computers to help parse data from star maps or things like this, where it was just kind of anybody random could log into the website and it would use your computer's processing power to tap into their AI and, kind of find things in the sky. So, I mean, like there's the technology exists for, to kind of crowdsource this stuff and get more people involved than just a small team, But again, like you say, the bigger the team, the more likely you're infiltrated or who knows what the hell, man. That's the world we live in. That's the sickest part, right? Jeez.
Yeah, that's true. shit, hell, we need a GoFundMe page instead of paying taxes and start putting money in that, and then you can the money, you won't even have a money problem. You can make satellites.
Exactly.
You can have your own radio and TV stations.
Which is why they want the taxes, because they knew if we had it, we'd be doing all kinds of amazing shit like that, and they don't want it to happen, man. They're like, nah, no thanks. Makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, but somebody's gonna get together, and maybe I will. Maybe I'll start something on here or something. I just got a team source though.
Absolutely, man. We know lots of good people here just in this group, so let me know if it's something we can maybe start. We can maybe start it. I think maybe people might be interested in something like that. We'll have to look at what all that stuff costs, man. Because holy crap, like you said, like for one of those big observatories, you're talking millions, man. You got to start smaller than that. But yeah.
I mean, it don't have to be that big, but even something half that size, you can still see some pretty incredible shit. It just need location.
Exactly. Yeah, that's true. That very like the dark side of the moon. Let's put it there. Matt says the Galileo Project on Discord. There it is. There you go. Maybe, right? Yeah, I don't know. So do you think this is good? Do you think this is the way it should head? Are you suspicious of Harvard and the way this is going down? Or do you think maybe this is going to be a good thing?
Like I said, I was talking before. I mean, I like what he's put out so far. At least he stepped out of that boundary and made some of an effort to put himself out there, like that. But depends. It depends on who's his team and who's his members. And obviously we wouldn't know any of these people. We can only just pull up information on those people, see what kind of people they are. But I mean, to say that you don't want no government funding, which is actually incredible. I mean, who knows if it'll happen or not? Maybe it'll be a secret funding, that a little bank source that they're pulling this out of. But I'm optimistic. I'm just like yourself. I mean, this is something that's really, and that's what I was kind of hoping when that whole stupid Tom DeLonge shit. But the more I read into it, it was like, man, this shit is, I don't know about
it. Plot holes, right? It's so suspicious. It's so suspicious, man.
Yeah, I was just turned off, man. It was just not it just seemed to me like, all right, some kind of a money grab propaganda BS when I first started with it. But, they tried to come out and they said they were going to come out with some super, and we're, information and parts and, we're going to start building aircraft to have, show our proof. I mean, come on, man. I mean, what we got here? We got some black and white shit that looks like off of a video game. You know what I mean?
He said they were going to do advanced propulsion, and he said that they had the pieces ready, and they were ready to do an experiment to prove to the whole world that this stuff exists. And we haven't seen any of that. Man, come on. Is that what they wanted? They wanted a liar. They wanted a guy who made big claims and never backed him up. That's our disclosure guy. Come on. Come on.
They had to have.
Yeah, awful. Dennis says this: we're going about this entirely in the wrong way. Why expend all the energy searching for something that they already found but won't tell us about? We must end secrecy and compartmentalization. And that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, but people don't want to even stand up for that. I mean, they're not standing up for the right things in my eyes. Let's get down. I mean, the whole thing that they were talking about, like, I know it'd been a crazy, insane thing to kind of rush Area 51, but that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. You need some major push in that direction to have, let these people here, this government know that we ain't playing around, man. Seriously, if you look around the world, you have people that are actually, talking about the jab anyway. That's not to get off subject, but these people are actually standing up against these governments. I mean, like for the stuff, meaningful stuff. And if we was to do that as a species or as the United States, let's just go with the citizens first. If we were doing that with our government, I mean, that you have to put pressure on these people.
because all talk and no action, and they're just going to keep doing what the hell they're doing all the time, every day. Nothing's going to change, But to put your foot down, you know what I'm saying? But people are just, and you can't blame them, looking out for their own families and everything else. But like, I'm talking like strikes and like not even going into work, shutting this whole system down. You got to make movements, you got to make strides, you got to, I'm talking like on a mass scale, not just these, watch everybody sitting on the sideline just watching everybody else do this shit. Everybody's got to get involved. But not everybody's heart's in the same direction. So, and that's the hardest part to get. But and more or less, people are coming, around to the fact that these things are real, and they're unidentified at least. Can't say what they are right now, as what I mean. But we all know, that our listeners here in this, that we ain't never been alone.
Yeah, it sure seems like it, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, we ain't never been alone. Yeah. And they ain't never left. And I mean, why would you leave? You're over here, doing what they did. If history was correct on some of this stuff, even like not even some of the stuff I study, like worldwide, of all this history of every peoples around, of the ancient peoples. I mean, come on, something happened. I mean, there's only evidence laying around everywhere, It's just people just don't want to grab a hold of that.
Yeah, or again, it's all obfuscation and hiding evidence and all the rest of that. Who knows what kind of stuff they've got hidden behind the government window, right? The opaqueness of this government secrecy. It's who knows. Like there's probably some really, really sick stuff that it would crack it all open. And so Dennis is in the chat here is correct that why bother searching for something that's probably already been found? Just demand them show it to us. And yeah, I kind of dig that. It's a good idea. Activism.
Yeah, but if you can't get that because shit, to let go of that type of information, it's like pulling. It's like the old saying: you got to pull my gun from my cold dead hands, And so the only way to combat that would be doing what these people are doing, And it's not like they know that we know. People are always talking about proof. I want to see proof, a picture or something, land on the front lawn of the White House bullshit, What do you need that for? There's been proof everywhere. I mean, the thing about it is, and I don't know why everybody's all like, now they're just trying to make, to me, it's just like, if it's out there, there's going to be somebody that I was going to try to debunk or talk shit about something. But like ancient aliens, they're bringing that shit up. The evidence has been since thousands of years, There's information. There's just, I can go on and on. Everybody knows it. Everybody's probably, looked at it, but.
Yeah, there's a ton of that information, and the reason, the reason I'm personally negative about it is because there is some compelling stuff in that ancient alien theory, but then there's also the ancient astronaut theory. But on the show they also are off the rails constantly. Like everything is freaking aliens to these guys, And so it's like there's got to be some discernment, or else the stuff that's compelling you make it look stupid by calling everything aliens. Like I think there's a problem with that. It's like how many damn seasons? They're like 22 seasons into this. It's like, come on, guys. Like everything's not aliens.
There's things that are buried that we haven't even uncovered yet out of the sand and jungles. The more you unbury, the more shit you're gonna fucking find. So the thing about it, this is the thing, okay? So when they say ancient aliens will say yes, well, yes, you gotta always say yes. You know why? Just like here when we do on this show, you have to be optimized. You have to be optimistic about everything. Everything is possible. Anything is possible. So when you say that, if you ever try to close it down and say, it's a possibility, that's what they're doing. It's a possibility, like aliens. So that's what they say. Ancient aliens would say yes, but yes, there's some of the stuff I've looked at. Don't get me wrong. There's some things I disagree with, because some of their older stuff where they, first kind of started out. when they kind of took it a little, they can, just like anything else, they take it out to, the furthest extreme and then reel it back in. But yeah, you got to do that. You know what I mean? Some of that stuff though, but if you look at it through history, I mean, come on. Even, I'll give examples like Ezekiel will. I mean, that's supposed to be in some kind of biblical story or something, and that itself is the goddamn UFO sighting. I don't know where else to put it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Or,
yeah.
I mean, I could just go on and on, but for me, I just watch some of the stuff and some of the building techniques and, all the other stuff that you just keep going on and on and on. And just, I mean, how? You know what I mean? And yet science is supposed to be, the top of the line, and they have no fucking idea. They don't even want to touch that.
Yeah,
those theories. Because
You're
they
right.
do, it's gonna. The only thing they'll do is prove it right.
Well, no, not if you ask them. They'll just dismiss it and not look at it. It's more convenient that way. It's easier. Yeah, no, I'm with you. But that's I don't know. Like I'm not like super serious here. I expect every word I say to be taken as gospel or anything. So I understand. Like when you're kind of discussing these things, yeah, but you got to have a little bit of leeway to go off the rails sometimes. So I understand. I don't know. Just my point is, like you said, there's some things to criticize about everything, and I just wish they were a little more tight on the side of things that they present. So that's all. But I'm with you. I agree. They need some leeway to kind of maybe go off the rails and talk about this stuff. So you're right. Yeah, definitely.
Here we call it the baby juice.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. That's what we call it.
I sit and go out into or other people talk about drop some DMT or whatever, you got to kick it out of, a little further out to kind of just to explore it. You can't just say, nah, impossible, because nothing's impossible.
No. Yeah. Agreed. So we'll see. We'll as you know, we'll keep an eye on this as it develops, and hopefully we get some good information out of this. Wouldn't that be the shit if suddenly next week, right, or whatever, they put this together, or I don't know, maybe let's say 6 months from now. Next week's a little fast, but let's say 6 months from now, 8 months from now, or something. They start releasing amazing professional high def footage of UFOs, and we're like, well, shit, we've been waiting for this forever. That's really the cat's meow. That's what I'm hoping for, that they can get it together and be like, well, guys, by the way, here's video and photographs. That would be sick, huh?
Yeah, man. Well, the closest you're gonna see is like I was talking about with that guy named what's his name, John Leonard Walson. I posted one video in there, but I'll post all three of them in consecutive so people can take a look at them. But man, I'm telling you, these are pretty compelling fucking videos and pictures, and holy shit, man, you have to watch all three. The one that's 40 minutes long, I'll tell people the ones that's 40 minutes long. It's probably the first 20 minutes. They have a bunch of other stuff they kind of threw together, and then the most of the stuff when the story about him, Mr. Walson, it's probably about, I would say about 20 minutes in or something like that. And man, I'm just watch the videos. It's just, man, I was like, wow, I was pretty impressed what this guy has captured.
Nice. So it's happening out there. Like we always said, right? It's not up to the government. It's up to us to maybe get out there and make these things happen. So he's part of the solution. I like it.
Oh yeah. Now if this guy here gets with him, this Avi Loeb, if he gets with him, then I'll be like, all right, this is somebody's playing some serious cards here. Because I'm telling you, if you see these videos, if this man can get some telescopes like he says he can, and he gets a hold with Mr. Walson, and those two get together, because Walson knows exactly where they're at. That's what I'm saying. So if he already knows and say this point right here at this exact position, and could give them the coordinates, and they open up their telescope on something like that, yeah, let's see some real pictures.
Hell yeah. I'm waiting for it, man. We've been waiting for this for a long time. For, like we say, right, the biggest running joke in the UFO community is, oh, there's a UFO. Let's grab the crappiest, oldest camera I can find, so we can get this blurry ass picture.
The guy going alcohol fucking syndrome, shaking like a mother. You know?
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. Which, I mean, there's some merit to that, but again, like we were saying earlier, is as somebody else, I can't remember who was bringing it up. Maybe I think it was Robert, that maybe they're not craft at all. Like maybe the things we're seeing are the actual entities themselves, and they're like energy. And so that would explain why you couldn't get like an actual like crisp, actual photograph of these things, because it's like it's like taking a picture of a lightning bolt. It's got to be like just perfectly done, or else you just get a big smudge. So who knows? Who knows? Maybe that's what's really going on here.
That's interesting because I've heard that, explained by a couple other researchers that I've ran across and throughout the years. But yeah, they saying they're more or less alive. They're a creature that's alive, but yet it has the ability to do space travel. It's weird too. Is like even the Russians. I don't know if you ever remember that story. There was the cosmonauts, and they said they heard a weird noise or something. They looked out their window because it was like bright, and they said they seen three figures that looked like they even had wings, and that and they were really bright. I don't know, like a red or an amber color or something. And I guess they said it floated by and like down towards Earth, but they were just three kind of like figures, and they had wings on it. They talked with them on the show. They had like somewhat of an artist representation of it. But yeah, that's pretty interesting to say something like that too, because who knows? You never know.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, isn't it strange too how like the different eras have kind of produced different UFOs? Like in the old days, right? They were all discs, saucers type things, and now they're kind of like orbs or tic tacs. Oh no, man, it's just weird. Like the whole thing seems suspicious as hell, just based on the evidence from way back. I don't know. Just kind of talking out my ass here. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. This is the type of stuff that it's good to consider. It's good to put out there so people can maybe consider possibilities like that. Because I think it's likely that if they exist, it's not craft at all. And if it's craft, they're probably moving in and out of our realm, like space-time bending, things like this. I mean, how could you take a picture of that? With like a camera. I just don't think that would be possible, right? Like it doesn't seem possible.
Yeah, because I mean, it depends on too if their ability. So like, let's take it as in Hollywood. I mean, can they phase in and out, or do they got cloaking ability, or do they have a jump gate, or like Star Wars where you're hitting the, jumping through and it looks like stars flying by. I mean, or even like the videos that we've seen where it's like the one that was in Norway. It looked like a something that was spinning, and all of a sudden it opened up like a black hole. And then some other ones, it looks like something, as soon as it opens like that, it looks like something comes flying out of it. So how do you take a photo of something like that? I mean, and they say it affects any kind of electronic stuff, or even, I mean, you'd have to go back to old Kodak photos or something like that, or 9mm to get something that's even better, because a lot of these computerized stuff, anything can give them a surge, and they're going to be kind of wiped out.
Agreed. Yeah, and so maybe that's part of it too. Maybe as our technology has changed, then yeah, that makes sense too. That makes sense. We're not using film anymore. Everything's like digital cameras. So if it affects electronics, then yeah, you could be right on right there. Is maybe why we don't see any of that stuff anymore. Possibly, man. I'm open to all that, as you know.
Yeah, and what you're talking for me though, like when when we talk of shapes of UFOs, again, if you some of them, like if you go into let's say the Hindu, India, their vimanas, they almost look like flying cities, like they call them chariots and shit. They had drawn pictures of them, but yeah, that shit looks like And then you have the saucer ones later on. It'd be like, I would say it's kind of like how we are, like with cars. There's different models, different years, different shit comes out, upgrade or, something like that, Yeah, instead of a 1963 Bug, you got and then you got the new Bugatti,
the sport model UFO, like Bob Lazar said. Yeah, maybe as time changes, they're upgrading their shit too. Yeah. I like it, Kelly.
New Mexico, that was old jalopy, you know.
Oh yeah, and whatever the hell happened at Roswell? Clearly, they needed an upgrade to that because that MFer crashed. You know, yeah.
It was high school kids fixing their ride, and it crashed.
The jalopy, yeah, exactly. So who knows? I wonder, like, how much of that is legitimate too. Like, people have suggested that they're coming from, maybe they're us from the future coming back to see, right? And so something goes catastrophically wrong and they crash in the past, and that's what we're seeing. Who knows, man? We should probably do a whole show on that hypothesis too. There's some people who've written books regarding that. But yeah, who the hell knows, man?
Yeah. It was like that one post I did in Discord. Well, I seen it on Facebook. There was someone asked a question. Maybe it's billionaires from UFOs, or just billionaires from other planets.
Yeah, I saw that. That's been going viral, bouncing around. Which is funny because we got Bezos and these assholes going into space. Did you see too? Yeah. I don't know if this is true, but they said that they changed the definition of astronaut the day that Bezos went into space to make sure he could call himself an astronaut.
Yeah, they said they wouldn't give it to him because he wasn't actually in space. You know, they're saying that both of them went to upper atmosphere. You know, even though it was like 50 and 60 miles above the Earth.
Right.
So they still don't want to give him wings. So Bezos said, "Fuck it, I'll just make my own."
Yeah, exactly. He's like, "I own the Washington Post, motherfucker. We'll just change the definition." edit the Wikipedia, guys. That's so stupid. The games.
Bezos is offering NASA like $20 billion or $2 billion, or I think it's like $20 billion for the next lunar launch.
Yeah, I got that here. Let's see. Where did I find? I got it right here. I got a fact check. False claims that Jeff Bezos is an alien and a reptile. I got another one. Here we go. From The Guardian. I got this. I'm going to link it, guys. It's actually already in the thing. Jeff Bezos offers NASA $2 billion in exchange for moon mission contract. Boy, that's not buying your way into a government contract, is it? Come on. That's ridiculous.
At least he's doing it right. You know, coming out and, at least instead of behind the back doors and shit, where, people are getting paid for it, he's just coming straight out and said, "You know what? I'll give you $2 billion for it."
Exactly.
That's
like, how much do you think that contract is worth? Far greater than $2 billion. I mean, that's just so stupid. That's the world we live in, right? Yeah. Okay. Just go ahead and buy the government.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that whole moon thing. What? Like we're gonna finally go to it now, or what?
We'll find out. Do you think we are? Or do you think we're not allowed back?
I don't know, man. Well, if we're going to go with the other astronauts that went, like, I think, what was his name? Saying they told us never to fucking come back here. Don't you ever come back your ass here again.
Which would be legit. Why we wouldn't go back. We'll hit you with the phasers or whatever they are. Yeah. Crazy stuff, man. Funny you bring that up, and funny I always have the articles right there because I brought it as part of the conversation. People are like, "Did you hear about this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, I got it right here." So funny. Good shit, man. Good shit. Anything else? What we got, Sean? We got Jay on deck to do the outro. You're welcome to stay till the end, of course. I don't want to keep you if you got to bounce.
No, man, I'm gonna bounce. It was I'll just sit there and listen with you guys. So hopefully everybody have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out with us, Kelly. Always a blast, my friend. Let's go to Jay. Jay in New York. What's happening, buddy?
Mike. Well, Kelly always. Yeah, that's funny.
Kelly's great.
Yeah, gets the goo going. The moon is like our Death Star. If we go back there again, they're just going to like scrape off the little spot where the death ray comes out. And all the dust that's collected over the, millions of years that it's been up there, and they're going to shoot it at us. We're warning you, don't come back here. I don't know. I think it's great. You got, the guy from Harvard, trying to touch back base with it. Actually taking pictures. I mean, I know a guy that we built a pool for, and he bought a old farm, and in the silo on the side of the barn. He actually bought one of those things that Kelly was talking about, and he had set it up there in the top of the thing. He did a science program with the local school system. He was like the funder of the science club, and he had this whole big setup out on his farm for looking at space. It was down in the mountains in PA, so it had real good light pollution things. But I was just thinking, that guy's a pretty big member of his community, and does a lot for computer writing and stuff like that. So I could see how the Avi Loeb guy and this guy that I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if he wants to be that famous or not, but he was out there looking at it. If you got 10, 20 guys even over the country that had little setups like that, I mean, his wasn't that expensive. He wasn't that rich of a dude, but it was a damn cool setup he had up there. If you got all those guys together and say, hey, look, everybody, we're going to check out this spot today, next week or so. And you got a bunch of people that got pictures together from different spots of the same spot. That'd be kind of a real cool thing. But when they give the report, I'm going to wait until you read it, because the Nothing Burger I read when they did the UFO disclosure a couple ago, it sounded a lot better coming from you, just to be honest.
Well, still, I mean, I think that's part of this whole thing is how much of it do they want to keep kind of under wraps, and we'll see, because so hopefully he's got, like I said, Avi Loeb has powerful friends and rich friends, and he's well connected into top of Harvard. So if that isn't money, man, nothing is. So we'll see. Like I said, I'm going to remain that naive, cautious optimism, and hopefully that maybe 6, 8, 10 months from now, we're going to get real footage. That would be incredible. That would be what we're waiting for, right? Like literally somebody say, look, like here it is. Here's the smoking gun. There's some crazy shit out there, and we've got not just a little bit, because remember that guy said, Ryan Graves, now a fighter pilot, said we saw UFOs every day for a couple years. So if you get these professional type telescopes doing what you're doing, kind of making a sky net of sorts, and pointing those things out there in different or similar areas, well, who knows, man? Maybe this information comes back super fast. That would be incredible, wouldn't it?
Well, I mean, even like the little thing that you're doing with the Discord and the radio show and everything else like that. Think about it. You got the people in South Africa, the Philippines, and everything else like that. Listen to the scope. The Boy Scout troop had one. The guy said the whole setup, minus the computer, was under $1,000, and it was just, I think it was a Jason, was the name of the telescope, and it had little motors on it and stuff like that, and you could get it to track Saturn and things like that. I mean, you're not seeing that great because it was, fit in a suitcase, but it was a pretty damn cool setup. If you had something as small as that, and you had people all over the world wanting to look at stuff, and you kind of put them together, something as simple as the Discord, exactly. You might be able to find some really cool stuff,
Right.
Really.
Agreed. Couple of comments here. Robert says on Facebook, the Galileo Project didn't kill themselves. The other Robert says, the Catholic Church has a big telescope and don't ever tell us anything. And you're right, dude. Like this is exactly why it's frustrating, isn't it? Kelly's linking this stuff in Facebook. He'll also link it in Discord. Appreciate that, Kelly. Thank you. Put it in the Discord if you would be so kind. And again, another reason why you guys should join the Discord. Like I said, the conversation, sharing links and ideas, it goes around 24 hours a day. So please do. But yeah. So what? How much would you estimate? Because if people that don't know, Jay here is a master carpenter. He's a builder. He's been building for most of his life here. Do you think it would be like incredibly expensive to build something like that, like a maybe personal size observatory? Do you think that's possible for a reasonable amount where it's not like many millions of dollars?
Well, the guy only got like $80 million. He did a thing with IBM here and wrote him a program, and he got it and left town and moved out into the woods. So he only had $80 million. And part of that $80 million, he bought a mountain with a horse farm on it.
Okay.
So that was probably a pretty big chunk of the money. So, his pool cost $250,000. So I would say probably somewhere around 10, 15 he probably spent on the little telescope thingy.
Okay.
I don't think it was that much at all. I mean, I know the little telescope that you can get and carry around in the trunk of your car and stuff like that. I don't want to say it's only like $700-800.
Gotcha.
You know.
So it's so who knows? Who knows? I guess is the question then. So millions for sure, but not like 40 million.
Well, no. I mean, I think probably the barn was there. You know, he was out in the middle of nowhere. I think the little setup that he put on top of the silo thing there, just to make it look funny, you know, I'd say it was probably less than 10 grand. It was just a really nice, I mean, it's probably like 6-8 foot telescope.
Oh, I see.
You know, in length. And it had a chair bolted to it, and, you know, you could gear it. You know, it moved. But I don't think it was that much money. I mean, you could probably put one together if you had a welder and some gears and, you know, break time solenoids and motors. You know, it's not that hard to build stuff like that. It really isn't.
All right. Fair enough.
But yeah, it would be awesome, you know, get a bunch of people together. I mean, I think if someone like that from like Avi Loeb's thing, if he's coming out with a statement like that, he's probably been working on it for a little while. Hopefully he can get along with it, the info that he gets to us fast. Yeah,
and you know, he's got access to like the most expensive gear there is. So I mean, he's you know, he's been looking through these you know, $40 million telescopes for, you know, much of his career here, at least in the later parts. So yeah, who knows, man? If he has, like I said, those contacts, maybe. Like I said, let's cross our fingers. Let's hope something comes out of this. I think it's possible. I think it's definitely possible.
It's hopeful, you know. I think that's one of the things that happens with the whole outer space and things like that, is that, you know, they want to keep us hopeful, and that's a reason I want to wonder why. But you know, and then I go back to a little bit last night, what Rohan said about, you know, there's a timeline. You know, you know, these things are coming out the way that they're coming out because it's a part of a timeline. You know, sooner or later, all these people with their little telescopes are probably already seeing this stuff and calling places like Harvard, "Hey, dude, what do you think this is? I got 25 minutes of video of this thing out here around Saturn." You know, and they're sending it to him.
That's what we're looking for. That's what we're looking for. Thank you, Kelly, for linking that in the Discord. Thank you very much. Yeah, isn't that what we want, though, Jay? That's what we want. We want somebody with that kind of footage, right? We want somebody with that kind of footage. That's what we're talking about here. So I don't know. I think maybe it's something to look into, and maybe a long-term goal sort of situation. But I you know, again, part of the problem too is you get these private billionaires, whatever. You know, the Bigelows, for instance. He's been into this for a long time. The UFOs and the consciousness and all this stuff, right? And he spent a ton of money on it, but he doesn't share the information. It's like, why? Like, why would you do that? Like, that's literally like you know, a paradigm changing thing for humanity. If you can prove that stuff exists and you have the data to prove it, right? But it doesn't seem like, so either they don't want to share or they don't have the data, right? I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's the only two options I can see. Either they don't have it and they've been lying the whole time to con people out of money or whatever, make themselves look good, you know, or somebody came down and said, "Look, this stuff is too scary. You can't think about it, really. And if you don't see it our way, we're gonna, I don't know, shoot your dog and, you know, run over your grandma."
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, I mean, you know what I'm saying. You know, I mean, why wouldn't you? You know, if I, you know, we all come out there to see you for the Troubled Minds Con, and someone will chip in and have a telescope brought over there from the telescope rental place, and we see something, and we put it on the Discord, you know, and then all of a sudden, there's, you know, someone comes along and says, "Hey, look, you guys got to take that shit down." Well, why? You know, why do you want us to take it down? Well, you can't. It goes against whatever. You know, take it down or your show's down. You know?
It goes against the human being a human being in terms of service. You can't do anything the government doesn't want you to do.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure there's, you know, well, there are people out there. I mean, look at how, you know, your show's taken off. Other people's shows are taken off. You know, there's people are seeing the stuff. They're getting together. They're talking about it now. You know, it might be to a point where they're starting to realize that there's so much information already out there that people are going to start to figure it out for themselves. They might as well spill the beans. save the last little bit of face they got left.
Hopefully.
I don't know.
Hopefully we get something out of it. Again, I was a little surprised to see that it was going to be like an open source project, that people were going to be able to access the data and all the rest of that. So we'll see. Like I've heard that before. The Skinwalker Ranch guy has said that they were making like a portal you could access the data for all the information they were getting out of there, because there's too much.
Where's that link?
Exactly. It hasn't been released yet. So, people make these claims, but, well, I'll believe it when I see it. If this open source stuff, everybody has access to the data, this type of thing. We'll see. Because that would be incredible, right? Like, we can't even get NASA stuff that hasn't been edited, right? So imagine if we could get, like, stuff from these universities or these private donor groups that are unedited photos of the cosmos. Like, that would be hot. That would be good stuff. So yeah, hopefully.
One of the things that I would like to really see is that with, like, instead of the digital camera, one with film, an actual film of it, because I think we lose a lot in digital.
Yeah,
and
that's what Kelly was saying too. Maybe.
Yeah, I agreed with that.
Yeah, it's true. Who knows? Maybe we need to get some film back into the mix and start looking at some weird stuff. All this is worthy of maybe a long-term project and maybe getting some of this stuff together. But, we got a guy in the chat there that's saying, why are we looking for stuff that they've already found? Like, just demand they give it, So there's different ways about this. There's definitely different ways about this. So I don't know. Well, as you know, we'll keep an eye on this and keep doing our thing. And if information comes out, we will be the first people on top of it, because when it hits, well, I see it and we just talk about it, and that's it, right? So I kind of knew tonight was going to be a little bit sedated, just because most people are like, it's interesting to hear about, but you don't kind of get to spit hot alien fire with this type of thing, because it's, more speculation and stuff like this. But it's okay. It is information that's coming out, and it's the beginning of something that hopefully will turn into something great. So we'll keep an eye on that. But yeah, anything else, man? Anything else tonight?
No, just, cool. People are doing it, It's, at least they say they're doing it.
Exactly. Which is part of the problem.
I want to see the open-ended link. That's,
let's see it.
The real time.
Let's see the Skinwalker Ranch stuff that they promised. Let's see this Avi Loeb stuff, open source. He says it. Again, the links are down below, guys. Go check it out. There's an entire 1 hour long press conference that came out yesterday with Avi Loeb and some of his colleagues discussing this. So check it out if you're interested. And the website's already up. I've linked it below. It's all there. And so we'll keep an eye as it develops, and hopefully we'll get some good stuff out of this. But yeah, there's Dennis says everything makes sense if you're looking at the Diehold Foundation. What is this? Diehold Foundation 2047 Nova Hypothesis. I have no idea what you're talking about, man. If you got a link for that, I'd love to hear it. But yeah, let's do it. You got an outro ready for us, Jay?
I got two, just because I'm tossing them back and forth. They're both by Galileo, by the way.
Nice, Galileo.
We cannot teach people anything. We can only help them discover it within themselves. I thought, that's kind of where we are.
Nice.
Philosophy is written in the grand book of the universe, which stands continually open to our gaze. But the book cannot be understood unless one first learns to comprehend the language and read the letters of which it was composed. And both of those are Galileo, the real Galileo.
Galileo. I can't remember his name. Something
Galilee.
Like Galilee, there you go. All right, there it is. So hopefully we get some information out of this. As you know, we'll keep an eye on this, and we'll come back to it. If we get information, we'll be the first ones talking about it. And hopefully we're going to be saying, holy shit, look at these UFOs they caught on video, on camera, whatever. Like, we're going to be talking about it. So come on, Avi Loeb, don't let us down. He said Oumuamua was a possible alien craft. So let's find it. There you go. Karam says, go Galileo. I agree 100%. I'm looking forward to this. Hopefully, again, we're not going to be disappointed, as we are so many times when it comes to this subject. Well, we'll see. Time will tell, won't it? Time is the ultimate arbiter of truth, unfortunately. And we only have so much of it. Oh, boy. All right. What else? What else, Jay?
The time for the woo.
The woo-woo?
Howling at the moon. Go out there and howl at the moon and stare at the stars. And yell your woo.
There it is. You can do it, man. You can do better than that, Jay. Ow!
A woo. Ow! I've never been a woo guy.
Ow!
The woo girls.
Go,
The
Galileo.
woo girls at the bar. It's awesome. Awesome show.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate all you guys hanging out with us. As usual, you could be doing a million other things. You're here with us tonight instead. I appreciate that. I'm humbled by that. Thank you so much. I'm not running for office, I promise. We're going to just keep doing a radio show. So all the thank yous I say, well, it is what it is. I mean it. I'm not some devious cooking up a master plan behind the scenes. What you see is what you get. And this is Troubled Minds. We're going to keep asking questions to some of the harder things in life and the mysteries, and we're going to keep going. We're going to keep doing our thing. So thanks for hanging out again. At the end of this, thank you, Jay. Thank you, Kelly. Thanks, Robert. Thanks, Daryl. Thanks. See, I can't remember all the calls. Thanks, Beechwood. Beechwood, yep. So if I forget somebody, I'm sorry. There's just too much going on. I'm reading all the chat in my brain. I have I don't even know how many gigabytes I have flowing through my brain for every show because all the chats and all the calls and all the stuff I'm doing. And anyway, so if I left somebody out, I apologize. I promise I'm not running for office, but I do appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Be sure, be strong, be true. And at the end of it, you know the drill. You want to say, Jay? You know what I'm about to say.
I'm dumbfounded. I don't know.
Thanks for listening.
Me off guard.
From our troubled minds to yours, have a great night. Thanks, Jay. Ow!
Night, Mike. Ow!
There you go.
How's that?
There you go. Perfect. Perfect. All right, guys, we're out. Have a good one. We will catch you tomorrow at 7 p.m. Pacific. Ash will be here. See you then.